Hello and welcome to podcast number 49.
49!
We're going to catch up with the recent film and TV news we've watched before the second part of the podcast, where we're going to be hosting our horror knockout tournament, our horror franchise knockout tournament. And of course, in the third part of the podcast, we'll be answering your questions. Of course, joining me today is Ian.
What up, yo?
And Andy.
How's it going?
How you guys been?
I've been pretty good. I mean, I took the last podcast off, which was quite nice. A bit of a break, because you just, like, when you're on it all the friggin' time, you know, between obviously doing the film reviews, between doing the podcast, getting in on Twitch streams, then dealing with the Discord and stuff like that, you just get to the point where you're like,
Fuck these guys.
well, it's more like, should I take a break? Because if I don't, I get to a point where I'm like, I can feel if I don't take a break, then people are going to start to resent me and hate me. So if I take the break, then people will miss me.
Yeah, I've got to go away from you.
Yeah, you know, and it was just really nice because, like I said, it's just on the go or flow. So I was able to obviously listen to you guys a little bit last time because I was at home just chilling and watching shit on my phone. And you guys,
I was watching your podcast and I was like, fuck it, what else is on?
Right? Well, I mean, you guys were just throwing the tournament together and, you know, doing news and stuff like that. And you
I'll find out when I get there.
Because obviously I jump into the commentary like the comment section like I do, but then I find myself talking. You know, I'm supposed to be taking a break, but I'm doing more talking because I'm there.
Very much
so.
so.
It's easy to take a break. We had Gary's birthday, which obviously we knocked out for the fucking karaoke on the Friday, and then I took the wife out for her birthday on the Saturday.
Awesome.
Went out for a nice little meal.
Where'd you guys go?
We went to Leandra's.
Oh,
the bottom
mate,
Frankfurt
can't
Gate.
go wrong.
Yeah,
Stunning.
so I had duo of steak. The guy's just like, what do you fancy? I'm like, well, I'm looking at the duo of steak. What is that? He's just like, it's 2 steaks. I'm like, I knew. But like, I wanted
turf and turf.
Well, I kind of wanted a little bit more detail because I was caught between that and something
It does sound like he's giving you all the details, though.
Yeah, I'm like,
It's like, you know, a steak? Well, we do 2 of them.
well, I said to him, I said, like, well, I kind of fancy this kind of Grecian dish here, which is kind of like a kebabs and beef on skewers. And he was
Like
just
gyros or something.
He was like, no, just go with steak. I was like, all right, mate. Fucking, I'm driving.
When
the
the
wife's
restaurant,
drinking.
when the waiter at the Greek restaurant's like, don't eat none of that
Yeah,
Greek
don't
shit.
eat that.
Eat the
Just
steak.
eat the steak. It's like,
That's a
all right.
nice restaurant, though. I like Leander. We've been there a bunch of times. I think we're going there for like work Christmas meal.
Well, I
awesome down
obviously went down there. I recently, I had this all shortened down so I could obviously just do games and films and books that I'd done recently. So I recently completed Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on the Switch, which is a Japanese RPG.
It sounds it. Yeah.
I didn't intend to actually
Good name.
play it.
Right.
Why, the son wanted to buy it with some of his pocket money, and then he played it for like 2 days, and then he was just like, I'm done. And
Aww.
And you were like, quids in.
I was like,
Like that.
well, no, because I was more like, shit, I was really proud that he picked up this game and he was going to play it. But then when he realised how much work was going to be involved
The
in
grind.
the grind, that I was like, shit. And I couldn't leave it unfinished.
You're like, Dad, I've
to
played
put
this
in.
for 15 minutes. I haven't shot anyone in the face yet.
This is it. So I ended up, like, I completed it this morning. I've ended up putting like 100 hours in, doing the main story and a couple of the side quests and getting to the end of the game. And I can still go back in those areas I still haven't explored. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, fucking Japanese RPGs are amazing.
Is it like RPG in the traditional sense of, like, say, the old Final Fantasies? Or something?
No.
Like...
This is they've taken all of their best elements from Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2 and then mixed it in together. So like you've got like 6 characters in this one group. You can give them all these different classes, give them all these different skills. They've got all these different weapons. If you build up your combo in the middle of a battle, they get to do this kind of weird Guyver merge thing where 2 characters become one, and then they're doing off like extra damage.
Oh, dude, I'm just getting like Chrono Trigger flashbacks.
Man, the thing was...
Is it like turn-based, is it? Or...
No. The combat's free-flowing.
Oh, okay, cool.
But it's obviously down to critical chance and all that. And the problem was, because Dylan had started it, I'd missed the main story start. So I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm skipping all the cut sequences. I'm skipping all of the fucking talking. But I'm just leveling myself up. So by the end of the game, they were like, hey, we're the champions. I'm like, yep, I'm done. Put the game down.
I'm basically treating it like a mobile game. Like, that's an advert. Fuck you.
The combo system, the detail, the world was just absolutely amazing and brilliant. It's just, I'd done Xenoblade Chronicles 1 on the Wii.
You wanted to follow it
was
up.
fucking huge.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do 2 because it was fucking huge. Guess what 3 is? fucking twice the size of 2 and 1 together, so I didn't want to do that. But I'm there and I did it, 100 hours. I did recently, I said on the Discord as well, I did recently read Richard Matheson's I Am Legend novel for the first time. Never read it myself, but I had the chance to actually pick up the book and figured I'd give it 166 pages, so really quite quick. I mean, it was part of a short tale.
That's a 4-shit book.
Yeah,
four morning shits.
But man, I'm telling you, like you'd be surprised. Like I couldn't actually put it down. Like I'd read a chapter and be like, man, I've got to stop.
Chapter,
but I really want to see the next one because it intertwined. I've never seen The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price, which is basically I Am Legend.
Like the original.
The Charlton Heston one I've seen.
The
Obviously Will Smith one I've seen.
Don't forget the Mark Dacascos one.
Yeah, let's forget the Mark Dacascos one because that one's just fucking shit. But weirdly, both the films have aspects that are in this novel. So you've got the Charlton Heston-esque main character. I think is Richard Neville. You know, going around, boarding up his house, trying to fight these vampires, going through the science of it, explaining vampirism, things like that. But then there was this one chapter where he came across a dog. And he hadn't seen, like, people or animals in, like, 3 years. You know, this is kind of like a diary to him. And he's come across this dog, and it's scared of him. So he's kind of trying to coax it into the house with meat. And it's scared and keeps going off. And then it keeps coming back. And he finally gets it into the house. It freaks out. It doesn't want to be there because it's got its own ideas and stuff. The chapter was, like, 3 or 4 pages long of him detailing getting this dog in and how he felt. And then at the end... It's like a week later, the dog had died. And you're like, what the fuck? So it immediately took me to the Will Smith bit where he's got
like
Samantha
and,
you know, and I'm like, oh, I can see that. That was absolutely brilliant.
If I read a book and a dog dies, I'll throw it across the room.
Oh man,
I'll be like, no, no.
The ending was really, the ending was really special because obviously neither film have done the ending from the book. I won't spoil it, but at the same time, I was like, you know what?
Was the deleted ending, you know, because in I Am Legend, the Will Smith
I was going to say there is a deleted ending, which feels more
isn't
like the
that
end of the book.
The ending of the book.
What's the deleted ending again?
Well, I don't want to say it because, like you said, you didn't want to spoil it, but I just maybe you know since you like. Is it the same?
Is it the one where he goes to the camp of other people at the end?
The deleted one, I believe.
No. In the book, he doesn't make it out either. But it's the way that he kind of confronts the new truth of the world in which they're living in. But it really. Reading it, I was like, you know what? They could easily turn this into a TV series. You could do the whole first season following this character, and then season 2, same world, but a different character dealing with different things, and then just expanding. Still
like
watching.
Most novels be better for a series than a film, because you can expand it.
Yeah, but the way that this was constructed, every chapter was like a little mini episode. That the detail would just be amazing. Obviously, still watching the wrestling. Papa H is running WWE to the fucking grand.
It's been good, right?
It's man, Rollins is kicking ass. Reigns is kicking ass.
Extreme Rules was a great pay-per-view.
Extreme Rules was a good pay-per-view. There were some things that happened that were like, oh, why did you do that for? But that's WWE pay-per-views they're going for. AEW.
Extreme Rules was just there for Bray's return.
Yeah,
you can just skip the
Bray
menu just to get to Bray's
returned.
return because I love a loud pop.
Bray Wyatt has returned, but I'm hoping that they don't hold it out for too long. If he doesn't get into the ring and start doing something, they're going to lose that momentum.
That momentum for sure.
AEW starting to struggle a little bit. Hangman Adam Page is just
right.
Well, I thought they say it was a concuss, but I think it's a stinger. Because he takes the elbow and it looks like he's fine, but when he lands, he's there and he could be concussed. Can't really see because they keep cutting the camera away because they're trying to get him out of the ring. But I'm like, stingers, you know,
totally.
They are the main thing that can take a wrestler out for a long period, and it can really do some serious long term damage. So if that's happened to him,
it's frightening apart from anything in it because you think you've paralyzed part of your body.
Well, exactly. But the problem I've got now is that they're building MJF up, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, as Moxley's next opponent. And if they've built him up that MJF's going to take the championship, like everyone's going on, oh, it's going to be like Austin, Shawn Michaels. It's not. It's like Brock versus Kofi. He's literally going to go in and take the title, and what relevance is it? We've always said...
What, you think it's going to be like a squash?
Not a squash, but Mox isn't going to win. He needs a holiday. He fucking needs a holiday. That's why
he needs a holiday because they keep letting him go off and do like fucking CJW matches and kill himself with light tubes.
He was supposed to take some time off when Punk had the title.
That is true. They did. Yeah, that
Punk
is true.
had his altercation backstage, and now Moxley had to come back in because they needed to put it on somebody who could actually carry it for a little bit. He needs time off with his daughter. He needs time off with his wife. So obviously he's still watching that.
Is she employed now?
Renee's down there as well. And also I watched Halloween Ends last night. Stupid. Move on.
Moving on.
Okay,
so
so I went to see Halloween Ends, and we're moving on. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
but
well,
we're going to save that for when you get. So yeah, we'll all talk about that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let me just bring up my thing. Okay, so, and again, I can't spoil it because these two motherfuckers haven't watched it yet, but I did watch Clerks 3.
I've wikied it. I know what.
Of course you have.
I
said watch it. Yeah.
Right, so you're not going to spoil it. I know.
But what? Okay, well, for others who
like
to watch their films,
Right.
you know, again, it seems very divisive online. I really fucking enjoyed it.
What did you think of Jay and Silent Bob reboot? Because I really liked that.
Sorry. Do you know what, my head was spinning then? I
really liked just the kind of heartwarming aspect behind that story. So I feel the same thing for Clerks 3. I'm like...
Jay and Bob Reboot was kind of like, again, it's that... Because I know that you're not a fan of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, that whole, we're going to run around and do some funny stuff kind of version.
Yeah.
It was that with a shit ton of guilty cameos because he nearly died.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's how he guilted them all into being in his movie.
But
what I love is that Kevin Smith was totally brazen and honest about that.
And same with Halloween. I can't say anything positive about that. With Clerks 3, I enjoyed the way that they portrayed the characters being the age that they are and what they've gone through.
Yeah.
There's and again, I'm not going to spoil anything. There's a very serious plot point running through it, which is kind of out of points as well.
Yeah.
Just as a fan, I really enjoyed it. If as liking the others, I really enjoyed it. And do you know what? Honestly, I think sort of like script wise and stuff, I'm going to get so much shit for this, but I don't give a fuck. It might be his best film in the last 10 years, personally. I enjoyed that script almost as much as I did Red State.
The funny thing is,
I fucking love Red State.
You saying that, I really liked the script for Jay and Silent Bob reboot. First off,
it's funny.
He almost died, so if he died, we wouldn't have any of these things.
He's playing to his audience. At the end of the day, he's only making his films for his audience.
Secondly, and like I said, I'm watching Clerks 3, but obviously you already know the story, but I get the same idea from Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I mean, yeah, he guilted these people in, but there's that particular sequence where you've got Jay, Bob, Jay Mew's real life daughter on the floor.
Yeah.
And you've got Ben Affleck playing
Holden,
who's supposed to be the daughter, the
father.
He
lowballed a sequel to Chasing Amy into the film, didn't he? Yeah.
Now
that was the best.
And there's this whole moment where I'm like, this is more than just a film. This is more than just a cash cow. This is three friends sitting down with a camera, acting out a scene that may never have happened if he'd gone the other way and died.
Absolutely.
And same with Jay Mewes. He would have died as well years ago, but here he is with his daughter in a film with his friend. And so that for me is more personal than, did it make enough money and go into the cinema? No.
Yeah, it's like if you followed the story of every... Like, I mean, I watched it. I watched it with my wife. I watched it with Donna, and she loved it as well, actually. I'm like, she was like, that was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I'm the asshole that's watching it with her going, so like, and again, this isn't a spoiler because you know how he makes his movies, but so Jordan and Logan, Jay Mewes' wife and daughter, like, are customers buying stuff in the convenience store. I'm like, that's his wife and his daughter, and she's like, okay, that's cool. I'm that asshole. So, like, so when they're going through auditions, it's like, Ralph Garman pops up from the Hollywood Bowl, and I'm like, that's Ralph. So shit like that pleased me. Do you know what I mean?
Let's admit, Kevin Smith's worst film was Copland. Not Copland, fucking Cop Out.
Cop Out. I would say Yoga Hosers is possibly the film that I was like, I will never watch that movie again.
I switched that one off.
I still haven't seen Yoga Hosers or Tusk.
I love Tusk.
Tusk
I
was
really
fine.
enjoyed Tusk.
Yeah,
I can't wait for the sequel.
Right.
Cop Out was like, I don't mind it on its own in a kind of like... to be fair, when you say Kevin Smith, it's not a Kevin Smith film, is it? It's him...
he didn't write it directly.
No, it's him working in a studio trying to make a studio movie.
The Zack and Miri one.
Exactly. And, and to be fair, Zack and Miri was far better than Cop Out. But, but anyway, personally, I fucking enjoyed it. Apparently, awesome. I'm in the minority.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it.
You are a minority.
I felt Clerks deserved a third movie. I think it's one of those that deserves a trilogy, and each one is like at a different time in their lives. And I know from the trailer that he's put his own real life story in the story of Randall.
Yeah.
Oh fuck no!
Yeah,
you
yeah.
won't.
Again,
Listen,
I
mate,
know
you
it's going to
won't-
come
you
from
won't miss him.
from the heart.
You
so
won't
to
miss
speak.
him detailing everything. The Doctor is got the same name as the Doctor.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
acts as
exactly.
the
Yeah,
surgery.
yeah,
yeah.
And he goes through the
Yeah.
whole 80% mortality rate. It's kind of fucking
Yeah.
hilarious.
So I mean,
I,
I imagine it would be more of the same because I did not like the reboot movie. I thought it was garbage. But I enjoyed it because it was really heartfelt.
Exactly,
And because I
yeah.
love Kevin
Yeah,
Smith,
that's
so I was
exactly
with it.
how I
But
felt.
I thought it was as garbage as Jason Mewes' own movie that he released during the lockdown.
But then you also thought
But
Greasy
I still love
Strangler
him.
was bad, and then
Yeah,
you
but-
absolutely turned around on Greasy Strangler.
Yeah, but I knew,
it
I
is
knew
bad
watching
and
that
great.
what I was getting, and I knew that I needed to watch it with people,
Porto.
not on my own.
Porto.
Gracie Strange's like, what's this movie like? Oh, it's terrible. You'll love it. That's the thing. We watched The Watcher on Netflix.
Oh, fuck off.
Did you watch it all?
No, it's bullshit.
Well, see, this is the thing. I watched it.
I don't know it.
This is the thing is, I watched it. It's about a couple that move into
Based
a
on a
fucking
true
house,
story.
based on a true story. Now, here's the thing is though that they've never solved the mystery, so the series doesn't really have any kind of fucking ending. So we watched it. I'm at home working, and Donna was off, so she was kind of watching it. So I kind of watched this with one eye on the screen.
Sure.
And I'm so glad that I didn't get invested in it because by the time I finished it, I was like, oh man, I'd have been pissed if I was. Really
I
into
saw
this.
the trailer before it came out on Netflix, so I googled and Wikipedia what the history was, and I'm reading through all the pages, and I'm like, huh, what, huh? And then it's like, what are you reading? I was like, let me just get it in my head first before I go to explain it to you. And I got all the way to the bottom, obviously realizing that obviously it's unsolved.
Yeah,
and
it's like a
stuff.
nun-ending.
And then I just went, oh yeah, it was an Amityville thing.
No, it wasn't. Oh god.
Yeah, it is. It's a family moving
really.
into a house and then try to make up some kind of supernatural backstory because they move out the house. Spoilers. They move out the house
There's no
at one
supernatural
point.
element to it.
They move out the house at one point, right? But they're still paying for the house and they're still trying to give off the impression that somebody is watching them and is upset with them. But you've got all this technology. Yeah, you've got cameras that can fucking see everything. And you're not going to spot one fucking person or group of people dropping in letters or sneaking into your fucking property? Fuck off.
Yeah, they explain that. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying they do explain
Well,
it. But
obviously,
anyway,
obviously they couldn't explain it very well. It's unsolved.
but I watched it.
Oh no!
What's the new Hellraiser? I think you've got that in your
Yeah,
catch-up.
I've
We'll
got
go
it
into
to-
that
yeah.
as well.
Sure.
The only other thing I've been playing Titanfall 2 again.
That's awesome.
Because I was like, me and a friend of mine were sort of like, oh, we need to play something online and stuff, and I couldn't think of anything else we want to play. We're a bit Battlefield out and stuff. We don't play the new one, just play Battlefield 5 because fuck that new one. And so I was like, do you remember like how Titanfall 2 was like really underrated and really good?
Yeah, it was.
So I downloaded that, been playing a bit of that online, and then also I realised that I was like, oh shit, this one's got a fucking campaign.
Yeah.
And I played it, and I was like, shit, this has got a really good campaign. It's
solid.
actually a really solid campaign, so I've actually enjoyed it. So if you've got Games Pass and you've not played Titanfall 2, fucking give it a go. It's well worth it. And I'm kind of like, I'm running down stuff where I haven't got time to play Plague Tale Requiem. I'm not going to play Scorn until I've got a couple of evenings to just smash through it because I started playing it. I was like, oh, it's this type of game. Okay, that's fine. But I'm kind of like, look, I can't start
When
anything.
you say this type of game, what do you mean by that?
Have you got it on your catch up?
He's completed it.
I've completed
yeah,
both
and
games,
it's-
but I'm not ready to talk really
Yeah,
about
no,
both
it's
games
just-
yet.
I thought it was a shooter, but it's a
No,
puzzler.
it's a puzzle game.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Is I'd rather just have a
Weird.
couple of evenings where I just sit down and smash it out. But I'm kind of like, I don't want to start any brand new game because I'm weeks away from God of War.
Sure.
So I'm like, no, because when that drops, it's going to be like, this is what I'm doing.
Hmm.
So the only other thing that I've been doing is that, like, I was talking to some of the guys on the Discord, is I've got back into watching the NFL season. So I've been loving like my Sundays. Just fucking,
Nice.
I got the Games Pass and we watch. No, some of the guys in Discord were like, oh, who's your team? I'm like, Minnesota Vikings. They're like, why? I'm like, oh no, they got beards. Brock Lesnar played a preseason game for him, and Jesse Ventura was the governor of Minnesota. So go Vikings. But
Nice.
I've been really enjoying the NFL season this year. It's been good. We're 5-1. Life's good.
Very good.
Yeah, man.
Well, I think I've got 11
Buy a t-shirt now.
11 film
yeah.
reviews to
One for you, one for
go
that.
over in my catch up. As you guys know, I took a little bit of time off streaming, so I intended to fully catch up on a couple of films, and some that you've both mentioned earlier that I'm sure we'll dive into a little bit more now. But the first one I want to talk about is Bodies, 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 which came out this year, and it's about a group of rich 20-somethings that plan a hurricane party in a remote family mansion. The party game turns deadly in this fresh and funny look at backstabbing, fake friends, and one party gone very, very wrong.
It's just making me laugh because I can see your score.
Oh, right. It was boring. I fell asleep like an half hour into the film. I woke up and saw its ending play out, and I wasn't surprised by the end. I thought it was meh overall. There was some good ideas in there, but all of the cast lacked chemistry. For me, 3 out of 10. I'm giving scores to all of my reviews, which I don't normally do, but because I just want to really...
You didn't have shit to do this week, did you?
I just wanted to give you a score because it simplifies my review.
Because I said to him, I was like, my birthday's coming up. I'm taking a week off. I'm not doing editing. He's just like, well, I need a holiday. I was like, well, this is your date. If you don't get your holiday in now, then you're going to get shit out of luck.
Shocking.
So he's like, okay, I'm not going to...
Okay, the next film, The Black Phone.
Oh,
And
fucking hell.
after
Everyone's
being
watched
abducted
this.
by a child killer and
good
locked
film.
in a soundproof basement, a 13-year-old boy starts receiving calls on a disconnected phone from the killer's previous victims. This was great. Fantastic performances, especially from the child actors. And Ethan Hawke was creepy
He's always
as
phenomenal.
hell.
Bray Wyatt stole
Scott
his mask.
Derrickson,
Have you seen
director.
Predestination? With Ethan Hawke?
I'm
That's
giving this one a
amazing.
7 out of 10. Honestly, one of the
7 out of
best
10.
films I've seen this year. It's really, really good. Hold your attention really well. Fantastic filmmaking. If you've not seen The Black Phone or if you slept on it, give this one a go.
Rings a bell.
Next one I'll talk about is Men.
Man!
Story follows a young woman who goes on a solo vacation to the English countryside following the death of her ex-husband. I really enjoyed this one. And I have to say, I've kind of enjoyed all the previous offerings of Alex Garland as well. This was an honest-to-God nightmare brought to life.
The ending's a bit fucked up.
Jesse Buckley was fantastic. So was Rory Kinnear, who was equally brilliant in all the multiple roles that he played. It built suspense very well, but the message gets strongly played out in the climax in full gory detail, and it's definitely not for the weak stomachs. I got mixed feelings on it overall, but it's absolutely worth a watch. I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10. Still solid.
That ending kind of took... I watched it. I was enjoying it almost right up until the very end. And then
And it's
it
too
kind of
much?
snapped... No, it wasn't. It just snapped
Bit
me out
too
of it.
much.
That I was
Yeah,
like, where
it
the
was a bit
fuck
too
did that
much.
come
Exactly,
from?
yeah.
Sure.
You know,
Like,
so...
I kind of saw how the story was going to go, and then that ending came, and I was like, how does that work out? You know? But hey, at least it wasn't 4 years standing around in a fucking sewer.
There is that.
Yeah. Next one I want to
Got
talk
nothing
about
on that.
is Bullet Train.
I want to see this.
This is the story follows 5 assassins aboard a swiftly moving bullet train to find out that their missions have something in common. This is Brad Pitt on top form, as you'd expect. But it was the Kick-Ass star Aaron Taylor Johnson stealing the show
Quicksilver.
with co-star Brian Tyree Henry. Great action, comedy, and fun set pieces. Some cool, gory kills. It's a simple story, but great execution. It's daft. It's fun. And it was refreshing, but also forgettable. 6 out of 10.
I wouldn't expect it to have gory kills either. That's quite cool.
Yeah, pretty nasty.
Yeah, it did
really
seem pretty
nasty.
especially from the trailer.
Yeah.
Not on the right track then.
That was a stretch. That would be file. That
I'm
was.
trying to fit that one in.
Yeah.
3,000 Years of Longing.
Ah, yes.
The story follows a lonely scholar on a trip to Istanbul, discovers a djinn who offers her 3 wishes in exchange for his freedom. This stars Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba,
love Tilda Swinton.
and it's George Miller serving as co-writer and
Except for
director.
Dead Don't Die.
Dead Don't Die is fucking awesome. Shut your fucking
Oh,
face.
God.
Take
Great
yourself home.
characters.
Fucking ban you if you keep on
Wonderful
that shit.
stories. And stories within the story as well. Great
know, good
dialogue,
film slapped in the face.
quality performances. Literally, the majority of this film is just the two of these conversing and talking to each other whilst we have flashbacks to all the times the Idris Elba djinn was imprisoned and how long he's had to wait to be released again. It kept me riveted to the very end. Very satisfying. Highly worth a watch. 7 out of 10. 3,000 Years of Longing.
I want to see this, and Dawn, like I said, to her, I was like, let's go to the cinema and watch this one. She was like, I've watched showed her the trailer. She wasn't into it. I was like,
You know, weirdly,
Yeah, it's
weirdly
great.
enough, the advertising in the trailer, I think, hyped it up to something that it was bigger than what it is. It is more of just a small story piece.
It is. It's
I
lots of
think.
little stories.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the way that I saw the advertising in the trailer, it was like, you have to go see this movie. It's going to be amazing. I'm like, no, that's wrong because it's literally going to be people quietly just listening to a story, and not everybody is going to find that entertaining. Me, I could listen to Tilda Swinton fucking talk to me about what's on the bottom of her fucking shoe.
Fair though, advertising does kind of have to suggest you go see the film.
Yeah, but I don't, because advertising sucks. Look at what they've done over the last fucking 5 years.
Oh no, I'm just saying what its purpose is. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm just going to give my quick take on Hellraiser. Now that it's out, we were pretty hyped for it last month.
I'm so loving it every time I think of it. I miss Lenny.
This is an updated take on Clive Barker's 1987 horror classic, where a young woman struggling with addiction comes into possession of an ancient puzzle box, unaware that its purpose is to summon the Cenobites. I only really have a few issues with this refreshing take on the franchise. So much so that at the end of my first watch, I was like, I could watch more of that. Great effects. And some blatant CGI cheapness in some areas.
Yeah.
It really was distracting. Also, it was very clean. And I much prefer the OG Cenobites with the black leather look. Totally naked, flesh-scarred, but intricately designed as they are, they didn't connect with me same as the originals. Story was great. Characters were okay. Loved the suspense, the build-up. Just felt a bit sterile for a Hellraiser. It wasn't seedy enough. It did have one of the best moments in the franchise, though, and that was a demonic
Back in the
gateway
van.
opening up in a moving vehicle.
That was class.
That was class.
Fucking brilliant
Also,
scene.
female Pinhead rocked. Overall, though, 6 out of 10.
See, that's funny because the criticism, I really enjoyed this. The main reason I enjoyed it is because I like the fact that they made the Cenobites, they put them at the forefront, and they made them like this perpetual threat. They're fucking nemesis in Resident Evil. Do you know what I mean? They're this perpetual threat. Because I mean, the original fucking Hellraiser, you don't see him until the fucking third act of the movie, really, do you?
He's
know
in
what I
it
mean?
less than Michael Myers is in Halloween.
Well, he's in the beginning, but you have the
No, but
presence.
you don't really get that
Well,
reveal,
no,
do you?
what I was going
But-
to say is that in the first one, you got that presence that because they're always in the house, it always feels like it's always in the house. And I get the same
Oh yeah,
one
you're always
with-
waiting for it.
I was
yeah,
gonna
Well,
say
it's because in the
absolutely.
original, it's Frank that's in the basement being resurrected.
And that's the
always
interesting thing,
there.
isn't it? Because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say, like, if you're a gorehound, it was kind of like people were a bit like, oh, it's really tight, which is funny in a way because you're like, dude, people still get like fucking their skin peeled off and shit. But I
Yeah.
suppose these days,
But that's
like,
why I like-
it's still a bit tame though.
That's why I like number 2 as well. Number 2 does the same thing, but they move it to the hospital. So the Cenobites are there, still in the background in the hospital. After that,
but
it's
it's also
like
the imagery
fucking-
of that hospital, the basement level when he goes all the way
Yeah.
down, and it's like an inferno down there with all those
But
deranged.
does that mean? Is that what you mean? Where this one is just too clean? Where
well,
number
I mean,
2
like,
has that dirty,
like the first way,
grimy
it's
feel.
that dirt. I mean, it's seedy and dirty, and they're,
Yeah.
they're basically having an affair and keeping it secret and having this
Yeah.
lustrous sex, you know. And it's
least
like
they're not
this
eating
new one.
shit.
It's like
It doesn't have
it's
that.
almost slasher movie where it's
Oh,
like,
it
at the
is,
end of the day,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
just being stalked. It's a bunch
Guys,
of people being
guys,
stalked.
they had to get better than Deader, Hellworld, Revelation,
Oh, yeah.
and Judgment.
It blows
they
all
could have
those
fucking
movies out of the
shat
water.
in a sandwich, and it would have been better than 4 fucking movies.
Yeah.
But that female Pinhead was good.
Yeah, she was. I really liked her. Obviously, she's still not as imposing as Doug Bradley, but she worked within the confines of this film, though.
Yeah.
And the main thing that I liked is the takeaway is that they expanded on the lore. They gave us more
Yeah, I
of
really
the
like that.
of the lament configuration.
Yeah.
Something that Ian has mentioned in all of the Hellraiser reviews. He got tired of the box.
Yeah.
They mixed it up a lot in this one
Hmm.
and gave lots of rewards for opening it.
I saw that last sequence because obviously YouTube has that magical way of going, oh, this is out. Here's all the sequences from the movie, and you're like, oh, okay. I saw the sequence where she's just like, what wish do you want? And the main girl's like, I don't want anything. I just want to. Oh, you've killed all these
the
people.
ending.
Yeah, you're gonna have to live.
Spoilers.
You're gonna have to live with it. You're gonna have to live with the lament configuration. And you're like, oh, she said it.
She said the thing.
She said the thing. Nice writing there, yeah.
But yeah, it's one I'd watch again. Like, I got no problems with watching this one again.
I,
And
I,
would
want
want
another.
more.
I want another one. I want to see.
I'm not watching Judgment again, that's for sure.
Next thing I want to bring up is the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. I'm sure pretty much everyone knows about this show. It needs no explanation. So, I'm going to say right now,
sleep.
it was
Walk, drop.
boring. Boring for the most part. Awful
The
writing.
version of Lord of the Rings that Randall does in Clerks 2 is better than the Rings of Power.
Yeah.
The walk. Awful pacing. It was literally a desecration of the lore. It's pretty damn abysmal. Except it looks fantastic at times, and it sounds amazing
You
too.
should do the amount of fucking money they threw at it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but just because a hooker's hot, but she's dumb, doesn't mean you should still sleep with her.
Well, that is her job.
Yeah, but you can.
But you're fucking with the economy now.
I think some of the sets looked at times fantastic, and at other times dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. The battle scenes were okay, but the scale that they were trying to portray was so minimal. I was like, I'm trying to get a sense of this epicness with this skirmish, and it doesn't relate. It's it's such a disconnect. Highlight of the show was Owain Arthur, who I'd never seen or heard of before, who plays Prince Durin IV. He's the dwarf character.
Yeah, man,
He
he's
was
fun, he's good.
so good.
Yeah.
He actually even elevated the wooden performance of the guy playing Elrond.
I think he watched Hugo Weaving in The Matrix rather
And
than...
then him in Lord of the
Probably
Rings,
himself.
right?
Yeah. Because
should
if
have
he'd have
watched-
called him Mr. Anderson, I'd have been like, this track.
You should have watched Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. instead.
Right?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So yeah, the show looks great,
Oh my
but
God.
for me, it is
Right,
just surface level. 4 out of 10.
I don't know why people were so excited that fucking show. It's
Well, come
like,
on, dude.
you
It's
gotta
order. I wanted it to be good.
No,
I
no,
tuned in
no,
like,
I'm
here
sorry.
we go.
Balrogs
No,
and dragons
I'm sorry.
and
It's-
Sauron
it's
and
the
wizards
same
and
problem
orcs.
it's the same problem I've got with Andor, and it's the same problem I have with Solo. All of the main characters they got in there are just gonna get into really bad situations. What's the main elf woman? Is Galadriel?
Yeah.
Oh, Galadriel. She's in what, 8 episodes? She gets into a bunch of fights. I really hope she doesn't die at any point and isn't able to fucking have that conversation with fucking Elijah Wood in the middle of the
2,000 years
forest.
later.
You
I've
know?
had this
Oh.
conversation 100 times with you.
Yeah, I know.
It
and
doesn't
I-
matter.
No, it doesn't.
As long as
it
the
doesn't
story is strong.
It doesn't matter to you, but this it
You
does.
Wikipedia before you watch it anyway.
It does to me because I didn't wiki Rings of Power because I was just like, what's the point? Sauron makes these rings, gives them to a bunch of people. What do the rings do?
Oh.
They corrupt the men. They corrupt the men and turn them into the fucking 9 riders, right? What did the rings do to the dwarves?
You'd think they would have done by now in like
What-
8
what
hours.
What did the rings do to the dwarves?
It made him greedy. Made him
Right. What did the rings do to the elves?
just made him fashionable, I think.
Right, and that's it. So elves, man, and dwarves.
Upscaled their
Right.
bling.
The whole point is about corrupting them. It's fucking light side,
we
dark
already,
side story.
It is,
so we
yeah,
already
yeah.
know it's going to turn them dark. And yeah, okay, the writing's not very good, but it's still only season 1. If anything, you need at least 6 seasons to
Well,
actually
the
cement
pace
the
they're
Two's
going,
already-
they're going to need 100
Two-
seasons.
Exactly.
Two's already going, right? Two's
Yeah, they're already in
two got-
production,
two's got
But
yeah.
announced the other day.
at the same time, I mean, it's just as bad as Game of Thrones.
Do you know what the budget was for it though?
Yeah, well, I know that they paid $1 billion just to
Yeah.
acquire
it's
the
Amazon,
rights.
man.
So
Amazon.
I imagine it's
Fuck,
several
dude, like,
million per
hundreds of
episode.
millions.
Hundreds of millions,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if those actors weren't allowed to piss on set either, because it would cost them money. You know, they had to work. and
Can't
piss
avoid
on-
Portaloos. I suggest you figure something out. Yeah.
Yeah. But you mentioned Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones, the prequel series, has been utterly fantastic.
No, I've heard
Some
it's been
amazing performances,
Yeah.
like I can't say his name right. Paddy Constantine
Paddy
has been
Constantine.
fantastic.
And
Matt Smith,
and all that.
who I really liked in The Crown, was really good in this. Great effects, great storytelling, great characters,
Still
suspense
only-
build up. It's
Still only
Solid.
season 1. It's got a.
it looks like
finish.
3 seasons, and to be done with the story, which
And
perfect.
They're all going to die anyway because Daenerys has to
Well,
become
because
the
it's set
Daenerys has to become
100,000 years before it.
Daenerys has to become the
No, but I
last
assume
one.
everyone dies in it anyway.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's 1,000 years ago, so of course they're all dead.
Yeah, but that's it. But
Oh,
Daenerys.
so there's no point watching it then.
But Daenerys has to become the last one and has to
I'll
come
just
back
watch.
for
Still,
her
I'll just
throne.
watch the last episode of Game of
I've got
Thrones.
some bad
I
news
don't
if
need
you-
to watch any of it because it doesn't matter.
If you rewatch Terminator 2, I've got some bad news for you.
Yeah, right.
Fuck that shit.
I want to talk about Pearl that just came out.
Oh yeah.
This is the backstory in another backstory
Backstory to X. Yeah.
on how Pearl became the person she was.
Oh,
The
we keep both
prequel
of these, then.
to X.
I haven't watched
Now,
any of these, and I really do want to watch them.
I thought X
Alright.
was perfectly fine as a nostalgia fest, of like a 1970s slasher
And I
film.
was very surprised the prequel came so fast.
Well, they
It's
actually
only been
filmed
2
it
years.
right. They filmed it right away, like,
Ah.
like
I was
almost
gonna
during.
say, yeah, it did
Yeah.
did come out really fast.
Like
didn't it?
X has only been out for a year or 2, and then
Literally.
Pearl's like
Yeah,
bang,
they-
and then we've got a third one in production already. As
They
well.
do, yeah, which is moving on, yeah. But I was blown away by Mia Goth this time around. I thought she was okay in X, but in Pearl she was absolutely outstanding. It's the superior film of the two. We watch Pearl become more twisted and broken as the film plays out. And I only advise you watch this film just for her performance. probably the best performance I've seen in a film this year comes from Mia Goth.
That's saying something because
Yeah.
he saw Halloween Ends.
So she was
Yeah,
great.
so low bar.
The film also reminded me a lot of May, the Lucky McGee film from 2002. I'm giving Pearl a 7 out of 10. Really blown away by the performance. It's not, as you know, it's not a kill-heavy movie, but it gets into the psychology of the character. There's some pretty gruesome visuals as well.
Spoiler: she lives to X.
Right. Spoilers.
Spoiler!
But yeah, really enjoyed that. Chucky season 2 is well underway.
Yeah.
After his plan to invade
season
America's
one?
Children's Hospital was
I-
foiled,
Oh, that's fucking good.
the demon doll now seeks revenge on those he holds responsible, including his ex-girlfriend, Tiffany. Great start to season 2. Every episode's had its highs and its lows, but the body count keeps on rising. And also, just to say, the show is doing incredibly successfully well, with over 5 million views across all of its platforms that it's showing on.
Awesome.
I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 for season 2 so far. Excuse me. Let's talk about it.
There we go. All right, fuck
You
it,
start.
let's do it.
I want to hear you two
Halloween Ends.
Because I did mine last night. I'm ready to go.
Okay,
You
I'll
two-
give you mine first. I'll give you my review first. The saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode comes to a spine-chilling climax in the final installment of this
Climax.
trilogy. Now, I was with this film to a certain point. I was interested in the new angle, the Corey Cunningham story. It reminded me of Christine, the Stephen King story. Now, I hated the dynamic of the Strode family after Kills. To see Alison and Laurie so at odds, you know, it felt so strange, and it felt really forced considering their relationship in the previous two films.
Yeah.
The OG callbacks that they did in this film were hilarious. Andy and I cracked up in the cinema when they did the
hell.
Corey hiding behind the bush,
Oh,
like
God.
Michael. And we
fucking
were just
what?
like, oh yeah. It was as if it was put in there to remind you you're watching a Halloween film.
Yeah.
This film is not an ending to a trilogy. This film...
Remember
is
when he stood in the bush? Remember?
Remember? This film actually felt like two scripts that were
Jammed together.
put into a meat grinder together and all the pieces put back together. They wasted Michael. They wasted Laurie. Alison didn't get enough time to show her character switch heel. And overall, I just thought the tone of the film sucked. Not as much as Kills, though. Halloween
Yeah.
2018 was decent, and it would have been a damn near great Halloween movie if they just actually killed Michael in that film instead of wasting our time with these two
They-
pointless
I agree.
Well,
sequels.
they didn't need to
I think
kill
it
him. They
would've
just
been
needed to do the same ending as John Carpenter had done in '78 and just leave it ambiguous. Make
Oh,
you
you
think
could
he
that
died.
ending of him just staring at her at the
Yeah.
fire and done. That would have been fine.
Him
absolutely.
breathing, bit of
Yeah,
voice.
that I would have been fine. With
I
that.
think the new one has some graphic kills, some gory kills, and the music by Carpenter is absolutely
Right,
fantastic.
I've got to admit,
5 out of 10.
spoilers to a point, but when he kills the DJ, me and you did give a like. All right, that was a good. That was a good
was
fucking.
nasty.
That was, yeah.
And it was the
based
tongue
on everything else.
going around
One
on
of
the
the
record.
like big problems that I had with the movie, apart from everything you just said and everything you were about to say as well, no doubt. No, because you know I
on my
agree.
list.
Is what really fucked me off was the Laurie fucking going from I've been obsessed with killing this motherfucker for 40 years, whatever it is.
Now
yeah?
it's 44, yeah.
44, yeah, indeed.
Rates back in the green. We've reset the internet.
Slap.
Whether it holds or not, it's going to be another question. We're willing to try a couple more times, but if it continues to fail on us, worst case scenario is we're going to have to record the podcast offline.
Yes.
And we'll still record video. It just means it won't be live, which will be devastating. But we'll see how we get on.
We'll see how the gerbil works. Come on, gerbil, run faster!
Yeah,
Run
fucking
faster!
This
Good
is
to
why
see you,
your brothers
Metallica.
died.
Yeah.
Oh no!
That's the last thing I want to see is buffering.
No, Circle of Doom,
Okay, well,
Red Rings of Death.
I did end the recording while I gave my verdict on Terrifier 2, so we'll just skip right into the news, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to do this fast, like so a bunch of people died. So a bunch of people died, all right? Just fucking Google it.
Yeah.
Terrifier 2, 6 out of 10. Moving on. Right. Hopefully everything is working.
You recording?
Not yet, so. And with that, we're going to move on to the news section. Sadly, of course, we do like to honour those in the industry that have passed away,
Yeah.
and we're going to bring up Robbie Coltrane, who has passed away at the
man.
age of 72.
That's my heart.
Legendary stand-up comedian with many memorable roles, including Goldeneye, Nuns on the Run, Krull,
Nuns on the
Flash
Run.
Gordon,
Fucking love Nuns on the
Cracker,
Run.
and perhaps most recently, as Hagrid in the Harry Potter series of films. Daniel Radcliffe paid tribute in a statement where he said, Robbie was one of the funniest people he's ever met, and he used to keep us laughing constantly as kids on the set. He's especially fond of memories of him keeping their spirits up on the Prisoner of Azkaban when we were all hiding from the torrential rain for hours in Hagrid's hut, and he was telling us stories and cracking jokes to keep morale up. I feel incredibly lucky that I got to meet and work with him, and very sad that he's passed. He was an incredible actor and a lovely man. Very nice
I love
statement.
that quote that Robbie Coltrane did for the behind the scenes of Harry Potter, which was out recently, which was something like, in years to come, people will be able to relive and watch Harry Potter, and Hagrid will be there. I sadly won't be, as in
Yeah.
Robbie Coltrane, but at least Hagrid was there, and then he passed.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh man.
Yeah, very sad, but absolute legend.
Yeah.
And another legend has passed away. Angela Lansbury has passed away at the age of 96.
Right.
I mean this respectfully, but that bitch was old.
Yeah.
When it said Angela Lansbury's passed away, I was like, really? I swear she did last year.
I think she was an icon, a dame, the nation's TV grandmother, and a legend.
Yeah.
She escaped London during the Blitz in World War II. She studied in New York, moved to LA, and then was into the movies and TV for over 70 years. Angela will be remembered forever in the classic Bedknobs and Broomsticks,
Love that movie.
Brilliant.
Mary
Yeah,
Poppins,
fucking love
and
that
of course as Jessica Fletcher in Murder, She
Who the
Wrote.
fuck was she in Mary Poppins? Yeah, exactly. I was like, who the fuck? She weren't the wife,
No.
if that's what you're thinking, and I'm pretty sure
She was not Mary Poppins.
She wasn't Mary Poppins.
She was. Now here's some pretty big news. There's something that has been pretty quiet for almost a decade.
Okay.
New Silent Hill.
Oh,
After-
yeah.
Konami revealed a Silent Hill 2 remake, a Silent Hill Townfall,
Yeah.
a Silent Hill F,
Yeah.
a Silent Hill Ascension, and Return to Silent Hill. After years of speculation and after months of rumors and leaks, we're getting a lot of Silent
So
Hill.
apparently for the last few years while we've been waiting, they've just been doing nothing but make Silent Hill games, apparently.
I
start to
don't
run out
know
of money.
how far into development they are with a lot of these projects,
Chinko
but
machines, mate.
the remake one seems to be the one that's now at least available to pre-order already. Now that also being the main headline for the show was Silent Hill 2 remake. They also announced that Bloober Team will be working with Masahiro Ito and composer Akira Yamaoka of Team Silent Hill fame. If you're a fan of survival horror games, if you're a fan of the franchise, there is something here to get excited about, and I'm really hopeful for what's to come.
I got a bad feeling about this drop.
Well, it's Konami, so
Well, this is-
let's
well, this
let's
is
just
it.
see. At least
No,
it's
no,
it's
no.
still exciting to have.
It's exciting, but I think the excitement is there for purely the nostalgia, which is going to be the issue. So like go back after Silent Hill 3 and 4, yeah? What did we get? We had Origins, we had Shattered
we had Homecoming
Memories,
and Downpour.
we had Homecoming, and we had Downpour. And every
And
time
book of memes.
and every time it was, oh, there's a new Silent Hill game coming out, and it
Fucking
just
corgi
wasn't
planet,
great.
yeah,
So then, like Andy said, they stopped, and they were making money. So they made remasters, which were bad.
Yep.
The only good one was the Metal Gear one, but that was because Kojima was kind of in behind it. They're making more money from their pachinko machines, which nowadays I don't think even people are even bothering. So it feels like they've gone, we need to get back into making games because that's where the money is. And it's like, yes, we've been telling you that for fucking 15 years, you dumbasses. Right, well, what Silent Hill games do they like? We won't remaster the first one. We're going to remaster Silent Hill 2 because everybody loves that one. And it's like,
Because Pyramid Head.
the first,
Yep.
the first one was so good because it was technically still Silent Hill 1, but the story was darker. Now look at Silent Hill F, the one with the flowers. That's the mobile one you were saying, right?
Yeah.
A mobile Silent Hill game.
Did you see the visuals though, and the
Yeah,
artwork and the concept art for it is
What?
outstanding and solely unique and refreshing for this franchise.
Yeah. But what phones is it going to be on?
I don't
Is
know.
It
I'm not interested in mobile phone games.
Exactly, but that's
All
the
of them.
more that's the more information that you need, not the visuals
What I'm
that
seeing
somebody's
is
made.
creativity and artistry, and that's what makes me go, "Ooh, that's exciting."
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
I know it gets
Hey, look,
exciting.
plus, look
but-
at how many games are releasing. One of them's got to be good.
well, there's
Surely. You know, come on.
Sure,
Lord have mercy.
yeah, and everybody will
Well,
hope.
it'll probably be the Silent Hill 2 remake, but still.
Everybody will hope it'll be the remaster, but
remake. It's not a remaster. It is a
the
remake. Yeah.
But it's PS5 and PC, yeah.
yeah.
What if? And knock on wood, I'm hoping it's not. But what happens if it does build up? You don't really see a lot until it drops, and then when it drops, it's buggy as fuck.
But then we accept it.
That's
Like,
every
that's something
game.
that's everything Konami's
that's-
released lately.
Evil Dead wasn't buggy as fuck when it dropped.
I'm just saying, mate, it's a risk that you fucking assume
Yeah.
with most games,
It's
Yeah.
isn't it?
it's a risk that game company developers don't want to take. Konami.
And
they're-
all I'm
they're
saying,
just
every
giving out the money.
Bluebird team game I've played on release has worked.
Konami
So
are outsourcing. Konami are outsourcing it.
they've been outsourcing Silent Hill since the fourth
Yeah, I was
one.
gonna say.
Yeah,
So
and-
it's no surprise
and
there.
it's not paid off. But like I said, my fingers are crossed, but I'm worried. It's like Townfall. Like
If anything, right, even if the game is diabolically awful, we're getting new music by the composer of Silent Hill. That in of itself is gonna be worth something. Yeah, we're.
5 minutes on YouTube.
But the thing that I also really want to talk about, as being a movie channel more than anything,
Yeah.
is that Christoph Gans will be returning to make his Silent Hill 2. Obviously, his first film was 2006,
Which
and
is
his
really
new
good.
film will be Return to Silent Hill. No planned release date yet, but Gans says that this Return to Silent Hill will adapt the second game. So we're getting the Silent Hill 2 remake, and we're getting the Silent Hill 2 movie. He said, in his words, it's the best of these stories about a guy coming to Silent Hill, or back to Silent Hill, where he has known a great love. What he's going to find is a pure nightmare. Producer Samuel Hadida likens it to the myth of Orpheus, whether a man can go deep into hell to bring back the soul of the person he loved the most in his life. Yeah, it's a very gripping story. A lot of people in the fandom will probably say Silent Hill 2 is their favorite in the franchise. And so I just hope they don't overburden us with Silent Hill 2 too much with the remake and a movie. That seems a bit too much. I would rather Christoph Gans make an original story in Silent Hill, but you know, I'll be interested to see
Maybe the film's for
now
everyone who's
2
not playing the
adaptations
game.
of the original. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, next bit of piece of news for you is that Heather Langenkamp, I mean, it's just a bit of hearsay really, but she wants to fight Freddy one more time in another Legacy sequel. She said, gosh, I'd love to see a future in that. I've been watching the Halloween saga that's been out,
what it
and I
sounds
love
like, right?
watching Jamie Lee Curtis
Yeah.
get to play that part.
She was in
Langenkamp
Hellraiser. She was
adds.
in a Hellraiser movie. It sucked.
You know, this age where I think we have so much to give to those storylines, but yeah, I wish I was in control of that. But unfortunately, it's one of those Hollywood, very complicated things.
Yeah. How much does she want to be paid?
Well, I mean,
Well, she's working.
She's working,
at the
yeah.
minute. She's doing
She's
that
working with a
series.
great director on Netflix
Yeah.
right now, so yeah. Okay, we're moving into the quickfire news here. Colin Trevorrow mentions that there is more to come in the Jurassic Park World franchise, despite the marketing saying that it was the epic conclusion to a trilogy. But he said the only way for the studio to keep making more of these movies was for him to put dinosaurs everywhere, so they didn't have to keep finding ways to go back to another island filled with dinos. So for him, it was mission accomplished. Now Universal can make 100 more movies.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new Locust one.
I haven't seen
haven't
Dominion.
seen it.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
I want a film about dinosaurs. I don't want a film with dinosaurs that are just in it.
Land Before Time. There you go. That's a movie about dinosaurs.
Next bit of film news. New Cloverfield film is moving forward with Babak Anvari, who just recently had some success with I Came By on Netflix. No plot details or any confirmation of where this might fit in with the other films in the anthology
Came
universe. But
done.
the other films were actually separate scripts before they were merged into this Cloverfield franchise.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams is also expecting to be overseeing this one.
It's Cloverfield, mate. When you like no plot details, that's like what he's got.
Right, yes. Just another mystery box. What's in the box? The Northman director, Robert Eggers, has cast Bill Skarsgård and Lily Rose Depp in his next film, which is going to be an updated remake of Nosferatu.
Nice.
A project that Eggers has been wanting to make even before he
Northman
made The
was
Witch.
sick.
So yeah, really looking forward to this one. Twister sequel is in the works, with Steven Spielberg signing off on a script which he apparently loves, with Universal Studios and Warner Brothers now co-financing the project. It was going to be a reboot, but now it looks to be following the daughter of Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt's characters from the original film. There is a part in the script written for Hunt, but she hasn't confirmed to casting yet. The film will be called Twisters.
I see what they did there.
Yeah.
The first one was on actually today. I caught some of it before it came out.
Oh, nice.
Good film.
Bill Paxton is fucking amazing, mate.
is,
He's a
yeah.
fucking legend.
I love that film.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford is joining the MCU as Thaddeus
What-
Thunderbolt
What
Ross.
happened to
Sam
the other
Elliott.
two?
Should have been Sam Elliott.
Yeah, why did they drop fucking what's his face from being Thunderbolt?
Well, the
William-
other
did
actor
John
just
Hurt die?
he
He
just
died,
passed away.
William
Yeah.
Hurt.
Yeah, William Hurt. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sam-
yeah, he's
Sam
taking
Elliott.
on the role after William Hurt's passed, and his first appearance will likely be Captain America: New World Order in May of next year, 2024.
Nice.
Liam Neeson has been cast to star in a Naked Gun reboot, a project that's been in limbo for years and years.
Wait,
Now, according
Liam
to Deadline,
Neeson!
Liam Neeson will not be playing Frank, but he will still be playing a Drebin, his son.
Liam Neeson's playing Drebin's son.
Yes.
That's amazing. That movie's fuck
Take
fuck
all my money.
everything else on there. That oh my god.
You know, what was it? Donna was watching Ted 2 the other day, where Liam Neeson comes up to the counter and he's got the tricks
Yeah.
around the
Right.
cereal, and he's talking to Ted he's like, if I take these, there'll be no trouble. And he's no, what the fuck? And I was pissing myself. I was like, dude, Liam Neeson's funny.
Liam's supposed to-
That is
yeah.
nuts.
Take the fucking elephant.
Yes. Darkman. Great. Yes. The Conjuring 4 is officially moving ahead with all returning filmmaking crew. The Nun 2 is also currently underway. I don't really care for the Nun films,
Guess
but
how
the
much
main
interest.
entry Conjuring films are really good. So very excited to see the next one. Plot details about this one: we don't know what the case file is going to be. I'm hoping for the Amityville horror. Give me the Amityville horror. Conjuring 4 Amityville.
Man,
Come on.
You want
Come on.
Oh, so fuck. How do fucking people find that entertainment in the Conjuring shit? It's like such.
It's highly entertaining. I
How
slept
is
on it
it?
for too long, and
Yes,
I'm really
you
enjoying
should
the
be,
unit.
because all of it has no real basis or actual factual fucking proof
So?
that anything. Well, hear me
So?
out. Hear me out.
Bear in mind,
And
we're
then
about
just-
to go through a lot of
Yeah,
movies
they're all-
not based in reality.
Yeah, no. Those aren't based in reality because those are fictional characters, right? Conjuring is based on real people investigating what are supposed to be real mysteries, and like you just said,
Yeah.
you want
Yeah,
them
it's
to
hyper-dramatized.
You want them to go to Amityville and just fake up what didn't happen.
Yeah, so?
That's entertainment.
Yeah, it is. I love the Amityville story. And I also
Then-
love the documentaries on the reality of it, and I also love the fantasy of it. It's like the ultimate haunted house. It's iconic.
They're basically just gonna go right. Let's go to Amityville dressed as nuns with that doll and see what happens.
I also love the actors that are playing these roles. I think they're fantastic. So yeah, I could easily watch 10 movies with these two.
In fairness, mate, you watched 5 Sharknado movies. I'm not questioning you.
Oh, actually, I stopped after 3. But I watched trailers for the others.
He didn't stop.
Frank Drebin's son.
Now, this one's just a slither of news, but the producer of the Resident Evil 4 remake was asked about a Resident Evil Code Veronica remake, and he said maybe.
If
That's
the
not a yes.
It's not a yes, it's a maybe, but at least they're aware.
if the new games do well and the DLC sells and everybody wants to play Resident Evil 7 and 8 all over again.
Right, well, I mean, like, they're running out of games, Capcom Resident Evil games to remake, so...
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser said that he's open to do another Mummy film, especially now that the Forgotten Dark
yes.
Universe is totally forgotten.
I have a question, right? While
Mm-hmm.
we're on the subject of Brendan Fraser. What do you guys think of Bedazzled?
Not a lot.
I can't really remember much
Right,
about that movie.
go back and watch it. Like when Bedazzled first came out, because I really like the original with Peter Sellers and fucking Arthur on the Rocks, right? But when Brendan Fraser one came out, I was like, well, I kind of really like Brendan Fraser, you know, California Man, fucking Airheads. And I watched it, and him and Elizabeth Hurley had me in stitches. And everyone said it was shit, it's killed his career. So now he's got this resurgence where everyone's like, oh man, he was so good in the Mummy films. I'm like, Bedazzled, boys. Go back and watch Bedazzled. He's funny as fuck in it. And him and Elizabeth Hurley, they own the whole movie. I think it's an underrated classic.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I love Brendan Fraser.
Yeah,
but,
man.
yeah, give me a Mummy 4. Do it. Make it happen. All right, last bit of film news is John Carpenter is still talking about making a Dead Space film. Come on, universe, make it happen.
Yeah.
And while he was being interviewed by the AV Club, John said of Dead Space that it would make a real great movie. I could do that, was his words.
You could.
Asked which was his favourite entry in the series, Carpenter said that any of them were good. He said he even liked the last one, the action one that nobody else liked. And years before, he said he would love to make Dead Space into a movie. And he said, I'll tell you right now, that one is ready-made.
See, now that's promising as well. The fact that he's like, you don't need to fuck with it.
Exactly.
It's there. It's all there.
It's all there.
He knows.
Yeah.
He knows.
But I just don't think I don't think it'll ever materialise, but if we will it enough into existence, maybe.
We say that, but he's been getting a lot of attention recently. Like, people have been jumping on him for Halloween. They've been going to his shows with music. Like, so if he wanted to, he could probably... All he'd have to do is get the access to the rights, and he could do it independently, because he's that good of a director.
Maybe. He's going to need some budget, though. He's going to need some budget.
He doesn't need a budget.
And that's the worry. That's the scary thing.
He needs a set, a camera.
Yeah, but that's where the
just
budget's going to go. Needs to go in that set.
Yeah, but you know how well he can make he can decorate a set minimalist.
Well, no, he knows how to capture it and put it on screen, but it needs to be built. I don't want to see a CGI Dead Space set.
Too much money means too much studio involvement.
Yeah, I know, which is why it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
But that's why I still want to will it. On to the trailers. We've got 3 trailers here for you. First one I want to bring up is Creed 3. No Rocky this time, and no Stallone behind the scenes either. This time, Adonis Creed faces someone from his past, Jonathan Majors, played by Damian Anderson. Jonathan Majors playing Damian Anderson. Sorry. And I think it looks great. It's coming out on the 3rd of March 2024. Interestingly, this one's also being directed by Michael B. Jordan, as well as playing the lead role. Trailer looks great. Yes.
Seriously?
Yeah.
We gotta wait that fucking long for it?
Yeah, that's.
Why
I'm
the
pretty
fuck
sure.
They even pop out the fucking
Or maybe it's 2023.
You know,
maybe I mistyped. Sorry.
I'm really hoping that they work well together on set, because I'd hate for it to be a Rocky production.
and that's why the internet died.
Oh, no.
Yeah, boy.
Next trailer I want to bring up is Megan. This is a James Wan produced film being directed by Gerard Johnston, who Ian and I reviewed his movie Housebound a while back.
Yes.
This one's coming out in January 2023. It's about a robotics engineer at a toy company builds a lifelike doll that begins to take on a life of its own.
That's original.
Evil Bicentennial Man.
Right. Now, the trailer sets up this little girl who's had trouble dealing with life after her parents have died, so her foster mother buys her this robotic doll that is there to protect her.
Because she can't be asked to do no fucking parenting.
Because she can, right? And the doll looks like it starts going on a murderous rampage in overprotective mode. Now, I literally looked at the doll's freakish movements and went, okay, I can see where you've gone from Malignant and gone, ooh, when that creature moved, it looked weird and strange.
Weird and funny,
so they went, let's apply that to a doll and give it that weird, uncanny valley face. So yeah, it looks weird. It looks awful, but it also looks like a lot of fun.
The end of that trailer took me completely out of it.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I can't wait. The Lair, final trailer. A story about a Royal Air Force pilot, Lieutenant Kate Sinclair. She's shot down over Afghanistan, and she finds refuge in an abandoned underground bunker where deadly man-made biological weapons, half human, half alien, are awakened. Now, this might sound absolutely terrible. It's being directed by Neil Marshall of Dog Soldiers and Descent fame. And I also agree, the trailer gave away way too much. is shown too much CGI awfulness, but at the same time, I was like, this still looks fun. This looks like a good campy action film, like The Descent with machine guns. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what this is like. This one's releasing very soon, actually, October 28th this year.
I'm down for this one because I love. We literally watched Dog Soldiers last week, me and Donna.
Nice.
And
I'm prepping a rewatch of Descent.
The Descent is like so good.
Yeah,
I love
but
it.
I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure he did Doomsday as well, and that was
Yeah.
I was
The one in
looking-
Scotland.
I was
Yeah,
excited
Scott
for that, and then that was just fucking bad.
I enjoyed the first half of Doomsday, but yeah, I agree. The second half was
Like they
weak.
go past that gate, they're like,
After the gate, it falls apart.
It was when they cooked Sean Pertwee in like 9 seconds.
Yeah.
I was like, where the fuck? Where are those ovens come from? That was amazing.
I hope Sean Pertwee has a small part in the lair, just get killed off.
Do you know what the worst bit was?
Boy,
It's when they're
bang.
making their way to Scotland. They're like, "Oh yeah, we don't have any food, so we're eating each other." There's a fucking huge herd of cows. It's a massive, huge herd of CGI
It's
cows.
like you chose to fucking do this.
Well, that's going to bring us to the end of the first part of the podcast. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with our horror franchise tournament. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to the second part of the podcast where we are going to be having our horror tournament franchise knockout thing.
Spectacular!
That's it! Yes! But first, I just want to list some of the honourable mentions, some of the franchises that didn't quite get onto the list. Maybe should have. Paranormal Activity, Return of the Living Dead, Final Destination, Predator, The Conjuring, Candyman, Howling, The Amityville Horror, Creepshow, Insidious, Maniac Cop, Sharknado, The Stephen King Shared Universe, Hammer Horror, and the wild card entry was The Mummy.
That's not a wild card entry. I stand by that fucking trilogy.
What, the original comedy?
No,
Fucking
the
Brendan
Brendan
Fraser.
Fraser ones. Yeah, the Brendan Fraser ones. I stand by it. That's a good
They're
horror
not hor-
trilogy.
They're not horrors.
Pretty fucking horrifying, dude. It's a mummy. Comes back from the dead. It's basically a zombie that makes a fashion
The Boris
choice.
Karloff ones are more horror than the
No,
fucking Brendan
I
Fraser
honestly,
ones.
the first
told me about Boris Karloff, dude. I
45
loved
minutes of the Brendan Fraser Mummy is the perfect homage to the classic Universal Mummy
I'm glad
monster.
they're not
All
on
of the camera work,
They're
the
not
effects,
horrors.
the music.
They are not horrors.
Well, they're not in the
Comedy
list.
action.
They're not in the list. You
Hammer
don't have to worry about
They
it.
shouldn't even be in that fucking list.
Well, they are. Deal with it.
So I agree with you on that extent that it sets it up.
It's real pathetic.
Great movies.
No.
I could
Yeah,
literally,
great
Like the
movies.
fucking Sharknado
I
ones
could
are on there.
I
That's
could
a fucking...
literally stop what we're doing and watch the Mummy now.
Yeah,
That's
you
how
would
good it
not
is.
be watching a horror movie.
Yeah, I would.
You can keep saying it.
There's a
It doesn't.
fucking, there's a
you
whole
keep saying it
sand
doesn't
war
make it
thing.
right.
In the same way that you
There's
keep
no-
saying don't make you right.
There's
There's
no-
a whole
no,
sand
because
war thing. It's
there's a whole,
beautiful.
there's a whole thing called genre. You know,
There's
thing
these
called
people having
genre,
all of their
you know?
juices.
Yeah,
So the
man.
guy gets his eyes pulled out of his face, and then the mummy looks back at him with his own eyes.
Pressurized salt acid. It's a horror movie.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Man, I love Goosebumps.
And I love what I'm surprised you didn't put World War Z on there. That's a fucking
It's
horror
not a
movie,
franchise, Ian. Stop being so difficult.
too. I'm not being difficult. I'm working with two people who can't fucking understand genre.
Okay. Take the thing out and put the Mummy franchise.
I'm
in
going
there.
to now,
Fucking
yeah.
do it.
I'll fucking go and get in my car and drive home. You can call your wife to come pick you up. Next fucking
We
honorable
haven't even
mentions.
started yet. First up, we have the Exorcist horror franchise going toe-to-toe with Psycho.
Oh.
So, I'm just going to very quickly list off. The Exorcist has a couple of novels.
Yeah.
Starting in 1971 with The Exorcist. 1983 saw Legion, and then Exorcist the Beginning in 2004.
Wow.
It has several films, 6 films in its franchise, starting with The Exorcist in 1973.
Technically 5, but yeah.
Exorcist 2 in 77, Exorcist 3 in 1990, Exorcist the Beginning in 2004, Dominion, the prequel to The Exorcist in 2005, then
Both the
we
same
have
film.
Yeah,
a
same
new Exorcist trilogy going into production with David Gordon Green of the recent Halloween reboot trilogy.
Well, that's fucked that series then.
Then Exorcist also
Demons
has
die tonight.
a TV series that ran from 2016 to 2017. Psycho has a couple of novels as well. First one being in 1959. And then there was also Psycho 2 in 82.
Written by Angela Lansbury.
Psycho
while she
House
escapes
in 1990.
from Germany.
And Psycho Sanitarium in 2016. There are 6 movies in the Psycho franchise, with the first one, 1960. Big gap then between that one and Psycho 2.
Yeah.
83. Then in 86 for Psycho 3, and then 87 saw Bates Motel. Then we had Psycho 4, the beginning, in 1990, and then a remake of Psycho in 1998.
Yeah.
It also has a TV series that ran from 2013 to 2017. Psycho also had a Commodore 64 game, some graphic novels, which are very rare now, and the hotel itself has appeared in so many homages, so many references to it, that the hotel itself is just as iconic. Maybe not as much as the Amityville house, but it's up there. So, Exorcist versus Psycho.
Okay. We can start with The Exorcist, I suppose, yeah?
Sure, can do, yeah.
Go for it. Fire.
I think The Exorcist, the original Exorcist, hits harder than Psycho. I think it's because of the religious nature of it. Not that I'm a deeply religious person, but seeing Exorcist at a young age and hearing all the stigma around it definitely feels like that film has a horrific
pedigree,
presence actually in the film print.
Yeah.
Whereas Psycho is, of course, famously, there are no monsters but the human variety, and Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho and his performance absolutely delivers that, and that spine-tingling final look at the camera at the end is right up there with The Exorcist's ending of the possession being taken out of the girl but being passed into a priest.
You know that Psycho ending's really good because they use it at the end of every other Psycho movie.
Right.
Well, yeah, they did it in number 3.
Yeah.
Now, the Exorcist sequels, I think, are all mixed. I sometimes think they're awful, and sometimes I quite enjoy them. I will say I enjoyed the Exorcist
I
TV
like
series in
three. I think three's
2016,
But
but I liked the Exorcist film that has Brad Dourif in it.
that's 3.
Three.
3. I thought his portrayal. I mean, he's just a legend anyway. But for the Psycho movies, I was not a big fan of most of the sequels. I actually like the sequels that almost everyone else hates. I like the one where he's on the radio for the most part.
4.
Number 4. Yeah. I
that's-
really like that
I
one.
like 4.
I like that one.
I think
that
they-
might be my favourite one.
It should have
Really?
It should have
Okay,
ended-
I feel vindicated.
Honestly, no, I do. Because, I as a departure, I was like, this is cool. Because you get a great... well, sorry. I mean, I don't want to step over you. All I was going to say
you
is...
carry on. Yeah.
No, what I was going to say is I think that because you had Alfred Hitchcock directing Anthony Perkins in
Number 1.
number 1, and he delivers this amazing performance. In Psycho 2 and 3, he directed one of those, I think 2 he directed?
No,
I could be
probably
wrong.
Number 3.
But
I can't remember the director for number 2. But
His
he's a good
performance
director.
by 3 got quite over the top, I thought, and I thought that I was like, maybe you're the type of actor that needs a director to pull you back a little bit.
Well-
and because in 4 he was obviously in it, but only he's setting the stage, isn't he? And then it goes to another
In
flashbacks and
in
another fucking actor.
comparison,
Yeah.
In a way, I was like, I thought the balance sort of like came back into it because he was like on the route of going like real fucking manic. at the
Yeah,
end of
but
it.
I for me, like, Psycho's got the stronger story arc than Exorcist.
For
Exorcist-
following through, I've got to agree with you.
Exorcist starts really well with Reagan and the possession and investigating the whole supernatural stuff.
And then The Heretic is the
then
worst horror movie ever made.
Heretic is like an
Literally.
acid trip, which, yeah, it's great to get Linda Blair back again, but
But what a fucking departure!
It doesn't make sense, and it's not the book, because the second book is the Exorcist 3.
Yeah. It's
And-
like if you watched fucking Lawnmower Man or something after, and they said this was the sequel to
Yeah.
fucking Exorcist. It's
And-
that fucking mental.
And what ruins it for me is, like, Exorcist 3 I do really like, but it
love
still doesn't
Exorcist
make
3.
any sense.
Oh, I
Because
think it does.
No, it doesn't, because you've got Brad Dourif in the basement, who's Brad Dourif, but he's also the priest, he's also possessed, and he's also sending the demon out to kill people, and the demon's coming back to the hospital.
It is the priest, isn't it? And then he becomes possessed by the spirit of... What's the name of the killer? What's he called? Was he
What, the
Brad
demon?
Dourif's...
Oh.
No,
It's
not
like
Caesar.
he fucking
There's something
pisses
killer,
on
I can't
nuns
remember.
and takes the eyes and stuff. Right.
But anyway, but yeah,
it's
it kind of
so it's a
feels
murder.
like-
Yeah, but it's
I
a
don't know if I
murder
wrote it down in my thing.
investigation.
Oh, it's like a detective noir,
but you're
dude.
like,
I
where's
really
this
enjoy
all
it.
come from? Why is the demon just hiding in this basement? If it's all so powerful, why is he just hiding in the basement? 4 and 5 is complete bullshit because I stayed up one night to watch fucking the 4th movie and then thought, hold on a minute, I need to watch the 5th one and realised they're the same fucking film.
It's just
Well, they
edited
changed
differently.
We
Yeah,
edited
literally,
it.
the ending's a bit different. As in the
Slight.
what's the first one? Is it-
Dominion.
No, Dominion's the second
Oh,
one, right?
but
I
yeah.
preferred the ending of the first version.
The beginning.
Of it.
Yeah.
I thought the
Yeah.
third
I
act was a bit better in that one.
I think this.
As in, like, how the fuck did the CGI get worse in the second movie? Like, the
Because, well,
hyenas, I was like...
the main guy's fucking what's his face?
Skarsgård.
Yeah, Skarsgård from fucking Avengers.
Big Daddy
he's,
Skarsgård.
he's really the only thing saving grace for that. For me,
Oh, mate, he
For
should
me,
have boulder shoulders for carrying those two
my
movies.
vote is for Psycho. The first movie is such outstanding. You know, if you know the ending, it just makes the film even better. And some of the shots that Hitchcock gets,
Can't
especially
argue.
like with the guy falling down the stairs, that's great. I love Psycho 2. I love the twist of Psycho 2. You know, Anthony Perkins again steals the show, trying not to be crazy, but you're just watching the degradation of him because somebody's fucking with him. The third one's a little bit difficult to get through, but still, Anthony Perkins carries it. But now he's back to being Psycho
I like.
Norman Bates
Do you know what I
again,
love about
and
3 is
he's
how
killing
they shoot him, because you finally get to see him as Mother killing
Yeah,
in that one.
yeah.
When he's coming up the fucking stairs and so you can't see his face
Yeah,
and he's
But
all
it's
lit.
just silhouetted.
I was
You
yeah.
got that great shot.
Fuck.
There's a great shot in number 2 where the cop gets accidentally stabbed and he falls over the banister and then he hits the banister and the blade goes in even
Yeah,
deeper.
yeah.
The Bates Motel, I
a
remember
good
watching that because that's got what's his face from Electric Dreams in it, and it really doesn't make any sense. But it's got Laurie Petty in it.
I haven't seen it.
I like Laurie Petty.
I like Laura.
The
She was great in
radio
Orange
one-
is the New Black recently.
I
Like,
feel the
recently.
radio one's the weakest one and is kind of a TV made movie, but it does loop the story.
Well, it is
and
literally a made
It was,
movie, I
yeah,
think,
it
wasn't
was,
it? Yeah.
allows us to understand what made, you know, Anthony Perkins, Norman, this character, and then the TV series kind of builds on that. So yeah,
Establishing the relationship between, you know, him
Yeah.
and his mother, yeah.
my vote is for Psycho.
Andy, I'm going to let you go next,
Okay,
actually.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we sort of like wax lyrical about it for all of them. I mean, for me, I like I said, I enjoyed The Exorcist, the first one.
Yeah.
But more of a kind of like for what it was rather than what the film is, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
sort of like, I completely appreciate what it did for horror. Also, in a way, it's really funny because a lot of people are like, oh my god, it really fucking paved the way for horror. I was like, yeah, and it fucking damn near created video nasty.
Just want to
Yeah.
just want to
For
say
years.
something else as well that we have
You know.
not brought up with both films is soundtrack.
Oh,
Tubular Bells, Mike Oldfield for Exorcist is still haunting, but you hear the bells, you know
absolutely.
Exorcist right away. Psycho, though, also has the iconic shower stab scene music. It's not really music, but
yeah, but
it's
that intro,
it's a chord.
The intro music for Psycho. When you hear
Yeah.
it again, you
Oh,
go,
yeah.
"Oh
Oh,
shit,
yeah.
that's
Oh, that's
Psycho."
Psycho,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I think both again. It's hard to choose one over.
I see, and the way I've approached all of these, by the way, is I'm really trying to go sort of like as a whole franchise.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah, absolutely. You've
because
got to
like I said,
assume.
like,
you've
and
gotta
we
take
were,
them
jo-
all.
we were
prefer
joking
to
around
watch.
about sort of like there's certain movies on here where you sort of like there's a couple like we talked about were sort of like whatever you think about say prequels for example, the first one's a perfect movie, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm trying to really look at this overall now, and for me, like I said, Exorcist I think is a good movie, but is more of a like it's probably just something you should just educate yourself and watch.
Yeah.
Second one is the worst fucking horror movie of all time. Third one I fucking love actually. I really like The Exorcist. It's got, other than one other movie on this list, potentially the greatest jump scare
Oh, it does.
of
Is
all
it-
time.
is that
Because
the
of the
old
way
lady
they
on the-
set that fucking corridor up. They
Yes.
don't, there is no like, here it comes, here it comes. It's just, they lure you in for so long. They linger on that corridor for so long with
I
just...
thought you meant when she scuttles across the ceiling.
No.
love that
In the
bit.
third
Yeah.
one, when, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
that I think is almost like it's a perfect shot. Actually, I'm gonna say it's absolutely a perfect shot. The prequels, you know, between the two, they make them
They make a
maybe
good movie.
watchable. Like yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, Psycho for me, as much as I do really enjoy them, I've not seen the series or anything like that personally, because I think they are very similar in a way. I gotta go Exorcist because I just prefer the whole demon possession religious angle, which is funny is because I'm such a fucking massive atheist. But
right.
do you know what I mean? Because I treat it as sort of like this mythical story and everything like that. I think it is the greatest fucking fictional story ever told.
Yeah.
So for me, I have to go with the demon angle for Exorcist. But this was a difficult one.
It's very difficult because I'm like, for
When
me,
I rewatched some of the Psychos
the first
recently, at
movies are on
first,
par.
I thought it was going. I rewatched Exorcist 3 and I was like, this wins. And then I rewatched like 3 of the Psycho movies and was like, shit,
Psycho 2, so good.
Yeah.
Psycho
It
2
is
is
good.
good.
I am really
It's
torn
good.
because for me,
Perfect sequel in a way.
Perfect
both
sequel,
both
yeah.
first movies are outstanding, like iconic in the horror franchise. Then I look at both their TV series adaptations. The Exorcist TV series, season 1 was mediocre, and season 2 I stopped watching. Bates Motel, I got like 3 seasons into it, and I was like, this is fantastic, but I've had enough. Like,
3 seasons. How many seasons were there?
I think it was 4.
Kills
But
his
so
mother,
yeah,
yeah.
I so I tapped out before it even finished. But I thought it was outstandingly done. Psycho wins in the TV department for sure. Psycho has a lot more films in it. It has more novels in it.
Which would you prefer to watch if you had to watch the series?
If I had to
all of
watch
the
the
movies?
entire franchise again, I would choose Psycho. But it's a hair. It's only a
Yeah.
hair over it.
But that's what I was
because
gonna
I
say.
love my supernatural demonic possession
Both
stuff.
their first movies.
But I think
rock.
Psycho as a franchise just tips it.
But their
And it's because of
sequels-
its TV
But
shows.
it doesn't have Brad Dourif in it.
I know. Well, Psycho
Not yet.
does. Psycho does.
No, yeah.
So that one for me. So Psycho is winning over Exorcist in round 1.
That's fair. Like I said, that was a close one.
The very close one.
Psycho
yeah.
2, baby, I'm telling you.
I kind of had no skin in the game on that one either. I didn't mind which one went through.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, this is
I really wanted Psycho 2 to go through because it's fucking great.
Yeah, it's a good film.
Okay, so which means next up we have the Hannibal Lecter or the Silence of the Lambs franchise going up against the Jaws franchise. So the 2 man-eaters here. First up in the novels department, we've got
You know, I
Red
will
Dragon.
say, sorry, 2 Academy Award winners as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
Red Dragon, the novel, in 81, Silence of the Lambs in 88, Hannibal in 99, and Hannibal Rising in 2006. And the films gives us Manhunter in 86, Silence of the Lambs in 91, Hannibal in 2001, Red Dragon in 2002, Hannibal Rising in 2007. Also have a Hannibal TV series running from 2013 to 2015, and a short-lived Clarice TV series, which only lasted 1 season last year. Compared to Jaws, which has the one novel from 1974, which was adapted into the film Jaws in 1975, followed by Jaws 2 in 1978,
Another great sequel.
Jaws 3D in 1983,
I know where you're going with this.
and Jaws the Revenge in 1987. Of course, in the games we had Jaws on the NES in 1987, Jaws Unleashed in 2006, and of course, famous theme park attraction, which sadly closed in 2012, also has several board games based on Jaws as well.
For me, my vote will be going for Jaws, and it's because now I love Hannibal
I told you
Lecter.
were deciding this one.
I love Silence of the Lambs, but Silence of the Lambs is Hannibal Lecter, and it's all very self-contained, you know, where it's like, oh, he made a book, we made it into a film, but the film wasn't done very well, so we're going to make another film, and then we're going to make a sequel to that film based on the sequel book, but then we're going to have to explore more into his character, and we're going to do this, and we're going to have Hannibal Rising and the TV show. Jaws was a book, and then a director made it into a film, which not only became one of the biggest fucking summer blockbusters of its time, but also coined the term summer blockbuster. And not only that, but it started a lineage where people went, sharks are fucking scary, let's just make shark movies. And we just got a plethora of just fucking shark movies from all over the world where people are just like, they're just trying to remake Jaws. They
It's funny
know
that any
it's
time you
scary.
watch any shark movie, you're like, you want it to be Jaws.
Yeah.
You want it to be the next Jaws.
But the
It's-
first Jaws is so good because
spoilers, it never will be.
when you look into the production issues that they had in Jaws 1, it's amazing that Steven Spielberg even managed to get the film finished. But that's how good Steven Spielberg is that he made this film using little to no even view of this killer fucking fish. And when we do
Scary
see
ass camera.
it's scary, and we
scary
go,
ass camera chasing
you
people.
You sit there and go, oh, well, it looks rubber, but you don't see it for very long, and the detail on it looks so amazing.
Yeah, but also, hi, it was 1974,
Yeah,
right?
that's
You
that's
know?
what I'm saying. They
It's not like they just seen Thanos in the fucking, like, you know.
It's not even like people are like, oh, Jaws needs a remake, because you just know it's just never going to be.
I've been watching Jaws remakes ever since.
Yeah,
It will
every
just
shark
never,
movie, right?
you know, if they release Here Comes Jaws next year with a new guy playing Brody in a new town, it just wouldn't have that impact. I'm very biased, and like I said, my vote is for Jaws because I think, once again, Jaws 2, when I was younger, was a great sequel. How did you get better? You brought him back and you just brought in another shark. You know, it's nothing like the novel. I've got the novel at home, and that goes into more detail about the type of...
Because I'm not sure. Obviously, Jaws was based off the novel.
Yeah.
But I don't think he wrote a sequel book. But did they do a novelization of the film?
They did a novelization of the film, which they released.
Okay, yeah.
But it expanded more so, like, the shark is a female. She's pregnant, and it goes into descriptions of her carrying these babies around. So you're like, oh, if she dies, you've got Jaws 3 and 4. You know, you've got, like, the helicopter sequence, but it's a lot bigger because it's got, like, a buoy or a sonar thing attached to it, and the shark fucking...
Sorry.
The shark eats it and pulls it down.
Yeah, boy.
Like,
Did
yeah,
you see
right.
the shark coming out of all of his bling?
Jaws...
Goatee,
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
3 rows of goatee.
Jaws 3 is not great, but if I'm comparing their third movies against each other, Hannibal's not great.
I
You
like
know?
Hannibal.
And Jaws.
I'm going to shock you with my opinion.
No, Hannibal, don't get me wrong. Hannibal's not a bad movie. It's no fucking mummy series, but you know,
Hey, nothing's as fucking
but when
scary
you
as
co-
that.
But when you take Hannibal next to Silence of the Lambs, Silence of the Lambs is superior. Hannibal Rising is the Jaws 4 of its fucking series, and plus there's no Hannibal video game, so my vote's for Jaws.
Okay, well, I mean, this is I told you you'd have to decide this one because obviously, I mean, if you go back a couple
No,
of
if you do,
podcasts,
no, if you answer now, Gary, completely bless him. You won't
it's
decide.
true, yeah.
No, I
If,
want to hear
um,
Andy's...
Obviously, look, I mean, okay, Hannibal series is my most fucking favourite thing. Go back a couple of podcasts and you can see me literally fucking fighting for breath talking about how much I love that fucking series. Look, I'm not, mate, everything you said about Jaws, apart from the sequel being good, I fucking love Jaws. I love Jaws movie. It is a perfect fucking movie as far as I'm concerned. It's phenomenal. I watched it not a few years back with my kid, and when she was, I said a few years back, she's 12 now. I think she was like 7, and she, by the time the fucking head pops up, Sarah, she was like, no, I can't watch it no more.
Dylan fell in love with it when he
She
watched
literally said to me, she's like, Dad, can we rewatch Jaws together? I'm like, yes, always. Oh my God, totally, we can fucking watch it. I love that movie. Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the fucking quality then just dips. That's just me personally. But I agree with all your comments about the fact that every shark movie has just been trying to recreate Jaws.
recreate
It's fucking
Jaws.
amazing.
Yeah.
The board game is phenomenal.
The board game is phenomenal.
Fucking brilliant
How
board
they
game.
designed Santa Jaws board game.
So simple, so great. Look, it shouldn't work as a modern board game because board games are like big business now and like a lot more sort of like serious.
Yeah.
The fact that you have the big like fucking Jaws, it looks like the Bigfoot board game with the dude like stood on the top or something. So it shouldn't work.
Hooper!
Absolutely does. Exactly.
Hooper!
What can I fucking say about the fucking Silence of the Lambs trilogy? No, first of all, like, don't get me
go
wrong.
back up
Don't get
now,
me wrong.
like-
If you want to do comparisons, I'm gonna go for the Silence of the Lambs versus Jaws.
Jaws.
5 Academy Awards against 3. So I'm just saying.
Summer blockbuster versus a 1
Dude,
year.
hey,
Then they had to make sequels to try and. keep
But
it
still,
up.
I'm just saying if you want to go comparisons. But anyway, I actually, what you said about Hannibal, I fucking really, really enjoy Hannibal. I think it's a really
the
good
movie.
sequel.
Yeah.
Well, don't get me wrong, I've read all the books and I really enjoyed 3 of them.
How many books
Was
are there?
Hannibal was Ridley Scott, wasn't it?
Correct.
It was that one,
Yes.
yeah.
And I mean,
it's not-
don't get me wrong. It took liberties. I wish they could have got Jodie Foster back, but
Yeah.
she didn't like the way they portrayed Starling in the film as opposed to the way that she was in the book. And I was like, can't argue. But as a sequel to Silence of the Lambs and as it centered on Hannibal as the main antagonist was great. But one of my favorite characters is Mason Verger. Do you know what I mean? So having Gary Oldman come in and play Mason Verger is great. Again, I think they did it better
In the series.
The series because they had more time to like you in 90 minutes or whatever of like how much he's in that film compared to the book. You cannot fathom how sadistic that man is. They had to just cut out all this other stuff to do with it. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
saying that, I still think it's a fantastic sequel. I really enjoy Manhunter as a film. By the way,
Manhunter's
I
a
think it's
good
great. I
film,
think Brian
but
Cox is great in it.
Standalone. It's a standalone, not
Fantastic.
Silence of the Lambs.
Absolutely. But I also think that Red Dragon is really good because I think that Reese. Oh God, who plays Francis
Edward
Dollahart?
Norton.
No,
Oh,
Ralph
Edward
Fiennes.
Norton is
Ralph
Ralph
Fiennes.
Fiennes. I went to go Reese Fans. He's in the next
Reese
one.
Ifans,
I've got things to say about that. But I think that Red Dragon is a fantastic movie as well and captures the book. I think actually that one does the best of capturing the closest to the novel, actually. Mostly because they didn't have to take as much out as the others.
Yeah.
But I still think it's the closest. Hannibal Rising, he only fucking wrote it because they were like, you write this or someone else will. So he's like, alright, I'll write it. Whereas he, as well as everyone else, wanted to do the follow-on to Hannibal because if you've not read the book, they actually leave together and, you know, in Hannibal, they end up together. So but overall, when it comes to the character of Hannibal Lecter, when it comes to that world, I'm in love with that fucking world. Hannibal, the series, just amplified it times 10 for me. So I've got to go with the Thomas Harris universe, Silence of the Lambs. Don't fuck with me on this one, Gary. On you, bro.
He loves his shark movies.
He does. I know I'm going against a guy who loves shark movies.
I never, as growing up loving horror, never really saw the appeal of Silence of the Lambs. I watched that film, young me, and was just like, I've got to wait 4 hours to get some gore at the end.
Right? Yeah.
And
eat someone!
It's all talking until then. Took me a long time to really, really appreciate how good Silence of the Lambs is. Didn't take me very long at all to appreciate how fucking awesome Jaws is. The thing is, out of both these franchises, Jaws has one of my favourite scenes in all of cinema, and that is Quint retelling the story of the Indianapolis.
The Indianapolis speech.
It is chilling.
It's flawless.
Yeah. It is
fucking
flawless. It is
flawless.
amazing. Like, and I remember the story of the actor delivering it. Like, they had trouble with him on set, being pissed drunk all the time. And in his first delivery of that scene, it was unusable, and they had to refilm it. And he was just like, he had to apologize to Spielberg, like, I will fucking nail this scene. I will nail the scene. And oh my god, he did. Yeah. Like, so much so that actor's son is still in talks with Steven Spielberg about a prequel Jaws movie telling that very story. And so, yeah, Jaws itself, that film is amazing. It's still, if you've ever seen the film, you can't help but think of it when you go to the ocean. Like, it is in your mind. It's that fear of being eaten.
So
Hannibal, the TV series.
Speaking of being fucking eaten.
The Hannibal TV series that ran 3 seasons is one of the most gorgeous horror shows ever put to screen.
It's fucking glorious.
It is, in my opinion, better than Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal Rising and Manhunter. I think it trumps all the stuff that came before it,
mate,
which is why it's disappointing that we can't get all that stuff.
Mads Mikkelsen is now my Hannibal.
Yeah, he's mine too. I think he absolutely is amazing in that role. And we still hold out hope that we might see him in that role again in the future. You never know.
I didn't bring up Clarice, by the way, because I didn't fucking watch it, because by the time it was out, they were like, it's cancelled. I was like, fuck it then. Like,
exactly.
What's the point? What if it's really good?
Now,
you know?
I am an avid fan of shark movies and shark games. However, I think Jaws as a franchise has 2 stinkers. Jaws 2 and Jaws 3. Jaws 3 and Jaws 4. I love Jaws 1. It's a masterpiece. Jaws 2 is a fine sequel. You know, they upped the ante. They had more kills. It had more characters, but it didn't have the weight of the adults going out to hunt a shark. It had a dad trying to rescue his son and his friends. I much prefer the vibe of the first one compared to the second one.
Yeah, trying to keep the franchise alive because they knew they were onto a big thing.
Yeah. But I will also say guilty pleasure. Jaws: The Revenge is the film that I've rented more than any other film ever. So I was acutely aware when I saw a different version at the end. Mario Peebles lives, damn it! Of course, Jaws Unleashed is also great. I was actually got to go on the theme park attraction at Universal Studios and get jumped by the shark. Jaws, in my mind, has the best film out of these 2 franchises. But even though I don't particularly...
I'd actually agree with that, by the way.
I don't particularly like all of Silence of the Lambs. I think as a franchise, it's the stronger one. My vote goes to Silence of the Lambs.
Hey, you had to get one through.
Man, don't get me wrong, no.
But in fairness, that was balanced because it's got a TV series where Jaws...
Which is the winner.
Oh, it does a lot of heavy lifting, man, that TV series.
It's got nothing continued, where we are still getting shark movies.
Yeah, but you can't include every shark movie ever made in the Jaws for this. Because, okay, let's talk about every cannibal movie ever made.
No, what I'm saying...
Cannibal Holocaust.
Personally, it's the lineage, I think. You know, we said we're comparing their franchises, and you know,
Yeah.
like I said, I just feel that
Well,
George wants.
this next one is a behemoth. It is Aliens versus Friday the 13th.
I haven't seen that
Jason
movie.
versus
Is that one of the franchise?
That would be.
By
great.
now it must be, surely. Aliens
Really?
versus Jason.
I mean, Batman's been against the aliens.
Yeah.
Superman's been against the
I'd
aliens.
watch that, actually.
So in the films, we've got Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Alien versus Predator, Alien versus Predator Requiem, Prometheus, Covenant. In the game section for Aliens, we've got, these are the ones that I've picked out, most noteworthy because there's a ton.
Yeah.
Alien 3 from 1992,
Fucking love
Alien
that
Trilogy
game.
from 96,
Alien Trilogy was
Alien
the
vs
nuts.
Predator Extinction,
Yeah.
all three AVP games from 1999, 2001, 2010, Aliens Colonial Marines from 2013, Alien Isolation from 2014,
Yeah, still haven't done
and
that one.
Aliens Fire
Good
Team
game.
most recently. Of course, Aliens
like that
merchandise goes beyond our imagining,
Yeah,
from
works.
comics, figures, posters, attractions. There's a
Pepsi
new
adverts.
TV show in the work, Pepsi adverts, there's a new film in the works.
There's always going to be a new Alien film in the works.
It's right.
Always. Just so you know.
On to Friday the 13th, which has a staggering 12 films so far in its franchise.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th really needs to get its 13th movie together. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
This goes all the way
Come
back
on,
to the
Hulu,
first
make it
one
happen.
in 1980. The second one in 81. Part 3 in 82. Part 4 in 84. Part 5 in 85. Part 6 in 86.
Bingo score.
Yeah.
Part 7, The New Blood in 88.
They had a
Part
bye
8
week.
in Manhattan in 89. Then Jason finally went to hell in the final Friday in 1993.
It wasn't the
before
final.
ending up in
Or
space
did
in
he?
Jason X.
Yeah.
Before he came back to Earth to fight Freddy in 2003. And then he had his own reboot in 2009.
Can I just point out as well, we've put Freddy vs. Jason in both franchises, haven't
Yes.
we? Yeah, we
Yeah.
have.
So should they compete with each other? Then I guess they eliminate each other. We call
Yeah.
it a draw. But of course, Friday the 13th also has a few video games. First one being released in 85, another one back in 89, and then he had his game released in 2017.
And that
of
was
course,
a badass one.
so there are 12 slasher films here, a television show, which doesn't really have anything to do with the films.
yeah.
There's also novels, comic books, and tie-in merchandise.
Right, I'll do this one because mine's going to be quick, to be
Sure.
honest, all right?
Alright.
Because I got to admit, and I said to you earlier, I'm not a massive Friday the 13th fan, to be honest. I think that I think that Jason is a great horror icon. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I really do. But
As an icon next
There's-
to Alien, though.
there's so many. Well, no, just in general, you know. I think we talked about. Didn't we say like what was it? We had the thing a few podcasts ago where someone said about like, oh, is it Freddy? Is it Jason? Or is it Michael Myers? And apart from us picking, we also sort of laughed saying about like, isn't it funny how that's the three and there's certain ones that don't make it into the cut. We'll talk
Like
about
Brendan Fraser.
We'll talk about that later. Well, because obviously we're only picking second place to Brendan Fraser. But, so for me, I'm not a massive fan of the Friday the 13th. There's a couple of enjoyable, like 4 I think is probably the best one for me. I like the whole thing of like the first one being the mother and then him taking over. I actually like the story of Jason, and I'd really like to see a movie that is just that sort of like really fleshed out. Fuck the remake. I don't care that all those kids died. Don't make a movie where characters
Yeah.
are just fucking hateable from
And
the outset.
he's living underground.
I don't know.
But-
I really like the Friday the 13th remake.
Really?
I think it was a
think
solid
okay,
entry.
I
After...
think it looks good. It
It
made
does.
me laugh though that sort of like it was like I swear to God, Michael Bay was sort of like he'd watched fucking Silence of the Lambs and he was like, "Have you seen blood in the moonlight? It appears quite black." And that's all you get is fucking black fucking splattered everywhere. It was real fucking weirdly shot. But so look, for me personally, fucking we sit here talk all day about the duds that Aliens got, but fuck me, those Aliens and Alien 3 are just fucking
sublime,
come
aren't
on,
they?
like fucking
They're sublime.
Alien is one of the best fucking sci-fi horror movies ever made. Do you know what I mean? Aliens, again, is up there for argument of perfect sequels. It's contentious, but I fucking really like Alien 3. I think it's a great return to form as well.
But the strength.
Get rid
of
of
the-
that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that.
Get rid of all
Get rid of that,
the
get rid of
AVP
that.
movies.
But-
But
say,
that's
yeah.
how fucking good they are.
compar-
Alien Trilogy is boss, and I got pink-casted boots on. So I will go. I will easily go for Alien over
Friday.
But I appreciate that you two can probably talk more about.
Well, I was going to say,
Yeah, so I'll let you
in
go.
comparison of storyline, again, I mean, the story of Jason going through all of his movies, even the one where he gets to Manhattan, like, as dodgy as
sorry,
they are,
I've got
are
to say,
kinda
he
coherent.
fucking didn't take Manhattan. Why didn't they call it Jason Goes on a Cruise? Because he is on a cruise
Because of
for
when-
75 out
I
of
know.
that 90-minute runtime.
I know, but at the same time, he's just doing what he's doing.
takes
in
Manhattan.
And then when they get to Manhattan, they
Nowhere.
go into the sewers.
Now, in comparison to Alien, like we said, Alien works really well. It's a haunted house in space with a big creature. Then you get James Cameron come along and then completely change it from a horror.
This time it's war.
Jesus
to-
fucking
to-
bullets everywhere!
to
It's
an
brilliant.
action sci-fi, which you're like, oh my god. And then David Fincher brings it back to its horror roots. But they didn't have to do that with Friday the 13th. They just said, right, let's just get a hockey mask wearing guy and we'll just keep getting him killing teens.
Invent
it's
more kills, yeah.
simplistic, it's stupid, but it works. And it works for 12 movies. Alien, though, it goes first 3, then Resurrection's a bit of a dodgy one, but it depends on how far you wanted to go into it.
I can enjoy Resurrection with my brain turned off.
Yeah.
Prometheus and Covenant is like if Sean S. Cunningham went, you know what, I'm gonna come back and make another Friday movie because I made the Friday series and everybody should listen to my story. No, Ridley Scott, you do not own the Alien franchise. It only made its money because the fans were there, like with Friday, to keep coming back saying we want more. But instead of mixing it up and sticking with the stories that we were getting in the comic books and in the video games, the things we were liking, he decides to go completely off fucking track and decides to get 2 guys blowing a fucking flute for 5 minutes.
Isn't it a fucking shame as well? Because I rewatched Prometheus and Covenant fairly recently when I went through like all of them, and I was like, fuck, like. There's a lot of this that looks good,
Yeah,
and there's some really good. There's like,
Looks.
why did you fuck it up so bad with the script?
It's the script.
So it's kind of like doubly annoying because you're like, oh, there was,
But at least
oh,
with the
there was
Fri-
all this here, like,
But
you know.
you could be, and you could say that for the Friday the 13th
Yeah, that
movies.
flute shit is unforgivable. I ain't gonna lie. No, fair play
You
on
could
that one.
also say that about the Friday the 13th movies when it comes to script and acting. But
Oh, no doubt.
every time you hit play on a movie with a hockey mask on it, you don't give a shit about the script. You don't give a shit about the characters. You want him to
I want to see
kill.
inventive kills and boobs.
I want to see him kill.
And
I-
Jason
dude, I,
looking
I
badass.
bailed on 9 the first time I watched it because of the whole like, oh, it's not really him, and you see, like,
Yeah.
I was
And then-
like, I thought, what a fucking cool opening, and then I saw the next part in the
Yeah.
morgue, and I was like, fuck this movie, turned it off.
Eating
and
hearts
the only
and stuff,
reason
yeah.
a friend of mine watched it was like, dude, did you fucking
see,
watch it? I was
'cause
like,
the
yeah,
ending-
it sucked. He's like, did you see Freddy's Claw? What?
Yeah.
Fuck, now go watch it. Like,
And to think as well,
Sat there like
they,
that,
they
yeah.
tried that. They're like, oh, well, we'll try to do the
Spoilers, by
same
the way.
thing with fucking Halloween Ends, and it doesn't work. With Jason, it works because he is kind of mystical, magical zombie thing. They've got the Necronomicon in there. They've got Freddy's glove. He's
he's
Jason,
like Freddy. Jason's got some ropey
Jason,
resurrections.
without saying a word, has imprinted himself onto popular culture.
No doubt, dude.
So,
That's what I'm
for
saying.
me,
Like,
I love.
That's why
I love the
can
Alien
still,
series.
As much as I'm not a fan of Friday the 13th, I can still absolutely acknowledge that Jason is an iconic
I love
horror character.
I love the Alien series, but if we are comparing things in a horror marathon, I will go with Jason over Alien.
So we're just going to disagree on every one of them.
No, I listened to your
No, but I
point,
get,
and I'm
I
like,
get what you're saying,
totally- yeah.
dude. I totally get
But-
what you're saying. Yeah.
It's night and day for me. Like, absolutely, it's no contest. Alien trumps Jason.
You knew it was.
Immediately. Like, even like if we're doing comparisons, like Alien, Friday the 13th one, it's Alien. You take Aliens over Friday 2. I'll take Alien 3 over Part 3. I'll take Resurrection over Part 4. You know,
That's the one I might disagree with.
easily.
It's because it's Josh Whedon again.
I like Jason Lives, and I like Jason Takes Manhattan, and I know that like a lot of people.
Get the fuck out.
I like Jason
Those are my
Takes
two
Manhattan.
favorite, and I love
like
Jason X.
Yes. Jason X is
Jason X has got
fucking
some of the best
phenomenal.
kills
I
in the
enjoy
franchise.
Jason X. I like Jason X.
Freddy
I like
versus
Jason X.
Jason is
It's okay.
phenomenal.
He just wanted his machete back.
Freddy versus Jason versus Alien versus Predator.
Did we see that in the cinema together?
We did. I still
Yeah,
got the
yeah,
ticket
yeah.
stubs.
Jason versus
Oh,
I'll take
Freddy
fucking
versus
hot.
Freddy
Jason.
versus Jason. Yeah,
I've still got our dog song.
yeah. Freddy versus Jason is
Brilliant.
fantastic.
Awesome.
Much better than than the other crossovers.
That's
But
Freddy vs. Jason is great, but I'm going to save that up
For
to
Freddy.
push. I'm
Right.
pushing that into my Nightmare on Elm Street argument.
in the video game form, yeah, I think Friday the 13th. I mean, it's slim pickings
that's been
there.
great. That's been
but
great. The latest one.
Aliens
Yeah.
has. I mean, Friday the 13th just has some games. At least Aliens
got
has
3
amazing
great
games,
there.
great games, mediocre games, bad games, awful games, and diabolically shit games.
Exactly.
It has all the range.
Isolation's amazing.
Isolation is amazing.
Everyone
One of the
thinks
best
Isolation was
sequels to
good.
Alien. So yeah, for me,
That's 361.
Yeah, it was the
That's
Command and
what
Conquer.
As a
type one.
franchise,
No, Command and Conquer type one.
Alien
that one I like,
has lots of hole punctures and ripped rib cages and ass blasters, and you know it has problems. But as franchises go, I think Alien still trumps Friday the 13th.
It's hard to fuck with the Xenomorph, dude.
Yeah. Alrighty. Which means we're moving on to the George A. Romero Dead series versus Don Mancini's Child's Play
This is
series.
such a weird fucking like.
This is a
fight.
difficult one.
No, it's not difficult.
It's Chucky versus zombies.
It's not
So I'm going to list off the George A. Romero series, and I'm going to have to ask you guys whether this is included as part of its franchise in a minute. But we have Night of the Living Dead in 1968, Dawn of the Dead in 78, Day of the Dead in 85, Land of the Dead 2005, Diary of the Dead 2007, and then Survival of the Dead in 2009. There is to be confirmed Twilight of the Dead, which George started writing the script for, but he of course sadly passed away before finishing it, and it was supposed to be his final movie at the end of the zombie apocalypse, which it looks like his daughter and some film crew are getting ready to actually make it happen. But I have to ask you guys, are all of the remakes considered part of the George A.
I'm
Romero
just going to
Dead
say
franchise?
that I haven't.
Yes.
I haven't
If
in
they
my
are-
personal
I'm
opinion.
considering them.
I would say yes.
So I don't have. So it's mostly so I didn't have to watch Bloodline again.
Right, because it's so bad. All the
No,
Day
I
of the
didn't-
Dead remakes.
all
There's Day of the Dead 2 Contagium, Day of the Dead 2008, and Day of the Dead
and
Bloodline.
it's just
What was the Snyder one? Was that the 08 one?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't mind that movie.
Yeah. It's,
I just
I
don't
have
consider
issues
it-
with it.
No, 04 was the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Oh, yeah,
Shadow
yeah,
one.
yeah. Day of the Dead 2
Oh,
was
sorry,
2005,
yeah,
a year
yeah.
later. It was straight to, like, DVD.
But then if
though.
you include Dawn of the Dead, do you have to then go forward and include Army of the Dead?
Well, no, because that...
No, 'cause that's not.
Yeah.
Because in which case, strike everything.
You're right. So going over to Child's Play, we've got 8 movies in this franchise, 7 in its original timeline, going from 1988 all the way to 2017 with Cult of Chucky. Of course, Child's Play remake in 2019. But Chucky has had its continuation from Cult of Chucky with a TV series now in its season 2. First season being in 2021. Of course, video games, very slim pickings here. But there was a Land of the Dead.
Arguably any
Road to
video game
Fiddler's
with
Green.
zombies in.
Well,
like-
but I mean, there was an actual one called Land of the Dead,
Yeah,
which
but
was
they
a
had
tie-in.
They had the Dawn of the Dead one, which I think was on Commodore or Amstrad, which was
Sure,
pretty
yeah,
damn good.
yeah. So yeah, I'll go first with this
Yeah,
one.
go for
Yeah, and say I'm. You guys know I'm a big fan of the zombie genre. Absolutely. I also discovered George Romero's films after discovering Resident Evil, and then when watching those movies, I was like, I know what happens when you get bit by one of those.
Same.
And so it was absolutely eye-opening, and then seeing Dawn of the Dead for the first time, like it was my favorite, and it was for the longest time until I got older and realized actually no, Day of the Dead is my favorite in the
Yeah.
trilogy anyway. I don't mind Land of the Dead, but Diary and Survival are really difficult to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, you end up laughing out loud at the ineptitude of what appears to be the filmmaking or the script by
Well, it does
Survival.
help that
shouldn't
I
be
know
laughing.
that with Diary, he didn't want to do a cinema release. He was like, I got this old ass idea, but I've only just sort of like realised it because of the whole found footage genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm going to do this straight to DVD movie. And they're like, no, George, we've got to release it
Yeah.
in cinemas. He's like, I'd really rather you didn't.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the Night of the Living
I've
Dead
not seen
remake
the
was
last one,
strong.
Survivor. I've not seen it.
No, Night of the Living Dead remake was strong. Actually, sometimes forget how good it was. It actually should be mentioned more when you talk about modern horror remakes. I know
right.
it's now like 32 years old,
No,
but it's still an impressive remake.
I mean, he fucked up when he didn't sign that paper properly in the 60s.
Right, that was George's
That
fault.
was- that
He
was
lost the
George,
copyright on
that's
his own
right,
movie
George.
for sure. Child's Play, though, I think is an incredibly strong franchise.
Yeah.
It's consistent. Now, the first 3 is horror. Then the next 3 is comedy with splatter gore. Then we got a return to horror with The Curse of Chucky, really. Before Cult started to go funny again. And then the TV series tonally captures the Child's Play horror and the Bride and Seed of Chucky ridiculousness. Brad Dourif is consistent throughout the entire franchise.
Awesome.
Don Mancini being
His
there
daughter's
from the
fucking
beginning to now.
great.
His daughter Fiona playing a younger version of Charles Lee Ray as well as playing the character
Yeah.
she's playing. Jennifer Tilly is brilliant. The only problem I have with the TV series is some of the child acting in it can be very hit or miss. And even that, the older Andy actor is not quite got the acting chops, but it's still serviceable and it really works. The main thing is, even though it's not the best, it's, again, consistent.
You know, I totally forgot until I rewatched
so-
it the other day that Jennifer Tilly's sister's in Psycho 2. Is it?
Yeah, Meg Tilly.
Now, it breaks my heart because I love Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead so much, but I'm sorry, George, you made some real stinkers in that zombie genre. You've also got some atrocious remakes in there as well. It's not your fault, but it's part of the Dead legacy franchise now. So in my eyes and in my heart, Chucky is the winner here.
Be going with Child's Play 2. I love the first 3 movies of George A. Romero's Dead series, but he messed up when he made Night of the Living Dead. And so then he tried to recover with Dawn. And I remember watching Dawn for the first time. I watched it before playing Resident Evil and was like, oh my god, zombies are just absolutely phenomenal. And they suffered. They suffered from Day of the Dead to up until Walking Dead started. Anything that came out between between Day of the Dead fucking 1981 to Walking Dead season 1, it was just atrocious because people didn't have the faith in it. They didn't believe in the storylines. They didn't understand what really makes zombies. And people get annoyed, but they also make fun of me when I get passionate about discussing zombies with people, because originally you got what? Alright, you want to go back, you got White Zombie, but that's the voodoo shit.
Yeah.
George A. Romero made it with Night of the Living Dead and started off this whole genre. So then all these other movies started to come along with infected this and infected that, and are they zombies in 28 Days Later? No, they're not fucking zombies in 28 Days Later because they fucking starved to death, for fuck's sake. Anybody who fucking even considers 28 Days Later or 28 Weeks Later a fucking zombie movie needs to get their fucking head examined and get the fuck out of the fucking room. Don't even fuck. I'm not finished. Don't put your finger up. Same with fucking World War Z. People fucking go, oh, World War Z was a fucking enjoyable movie. Read the fucking book and you'll understand that they are completely 2 different fucking developments, and just slapping Brad Pitt's face on something doesn't make it fucking good. You cannot have zombies ignoring people because they might have some kind of virus in them. What kind of level COVID should I fucking have just to have zombies fucking ignore me? None. They should just fucking eat everything.
You know,
Now,
mummies are basically zombies. I just want to pour some gas on it.
when you have the Child's Play series, though, Child's Play,
Bandages
I
are
remember
fashion
when
choice.
Child's Play 2 and 3 were banned off the shelves because of the Jamie
Yeah.
Bolger death.
Yeah.
That was a massive hit in
crazy.
like the world, and for me especially as a kid. I'm like, oh my god, because we hadn't had Video Nasties. Video Nasties had come and gone. And so we were getting movies back, and now all of a sudden they're banned again.
Yeah, man.
And I remember when was
So
it
hanging out in
was
the
it-
video store looking at all the
I
movies.
can't
I was
remember
too
if
young
it
to rent.
was one of you or both of you, but you got me Child's Play 2 and 3 on VHS for Christmas, and I was like, holy fucking shit, these are rare to get, you know. And then okay, you have Seed and Bride, but I'd already gone through the Friday the 13th series and the Nightmare on Elm Street series, so because a horror character was coming back, I expected cheesiness. I expected dopey
Yeah, it's
script.
about this time they start cracking jokes, right?
Yeah. And I just wanted to see Chucky, you know, kill people, and I was not disappointed. He guts Redman, at one point. You know, you get Glenn and Glenda turning up, and you're like, what the fuck? And there's that brilliant joke, right, where she's like, Chucky, have you got
a rubber?
protection?
Yeah.
And he's like,
Baby.
oh, rubber.
Oh, rubber.
And you're like, oh my god. Yeah, okay, bringing it back with the new Andy guy is a bit much, but I like that it's still in the same universe. I like that they're still making all the callbacks. I like the fact that the series has come out and they've gone, hey, we're not ignoring anything. And a lot of film series, film franchises do that. Oh, you can't have the sequels up to 7, or you know, he's not really your sister. Chucky's like, I'm a voodoo doll. Don't ask about the magic. It's fucking stupid.
Just go with
I'm
it.
going to kill
Yeah, just
people.
go with it.
So, yeah.
Andy, Child's Play's already gone through, but would you like to add?
No, I'm going to be honest. I mean, out of the two, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit to say that.
I
like,
know, Day of the
I
Dead.
got to pick Child's
is-
Play against 2 because of the issues with the Romero stuff, to be honest. And it's a shame because it absolutely...
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Jaws argument, so I can't go against it. Is that sort of like, it may have inspired
Yeah.
a fucking huge amount, but hey, look, dude, I love those first 3 fucking movies.
Oh, yeah,
dude.
hell
Do you
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Fucking loved them. I
Yeah, I love
rewatched Dawn and Day of the Dead literally last week, so I fucking love them. But
I'm running this monkey farm
oh
now.
fuck me, when he gets it, in the
And I wanna
elevator,
know
and
what
Bub
the fuck
fucking
you're doing with my time?
Bub fucking pops him and salutes him. I was like,
Yeah.
yes.
And then they ruined
But-
it in the remake.
But
God, the remake.
those first 3 Child's Play movies, no joke, are fucking hard. Child's Play is hilarious to watch the very first one. If you watch that first one, you are like, the Chicago PD is the most
It's so
inept
inept, yeah.
fucking
Oh yeah,
group
that's
of
my
fucking
argument
police
for number
officers
2.
you've ever seen. They are fucking stupid.
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
god, it's hilarious. But the only one I'm missing, I haven't seen Seed of Chucky. I
You
really
haven't seen Seed?
No, I've not
Oh,
seen Seed.
Seed is the
I
Red
love
Man Death.
I love Bride of Chucky. I've caught the fucking deaths on YouTube.
Yeah, Hannah from S Club
Yeah.
7's in it. She is so far. It's so good.
Mental, but I struggled with Cult. I've got to be honest. And I've not watched the season yet, the new one. But I mean, I've seen the trailers and everything, and it does look really, really good. So it's kind of like, George, you beat yourself on this one, mate. I'm sorry. Like, it's
Well, it's
true,
also
it's
not his
true.
fault with the remakes either, but
Well, Savini did the first one
he
good.
did. Yeah, he said
and
the first one was strong, and
Snyder's
decided the second one. But
okay.
after that, then
But-
it's all the crappy Day of the Dead.
You just keep diluting
Movies.
it.
Like I said,
You
it
keep
wasn't
diluting
until The Walking Dead came out that people went, hey, zombies are cool. And it's
Yeah.
like George A. Romero did it first.
Absolutely.
Okay,
And those
well,
are his zombies.
we are moving on into a real heated battle with this one. We got the modern Saw movie franchise going up against The Thing. Now, I'm going to go with The Thing first because there's not actually too much. Like, it is a small franchise, but it passed our rules, which are at least 3 movies and extra stuff around it, either novels, video games, or comics, etc. So with the novels, we've got the original Who Goes There from 1938. Then we have Frozen Hell, which is the extended story in 2019. And then we also have The Thing novelization, which was released in 82. Of course, we have the original The Thing from Another World in 1951. Then John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982. And then The Thing prequel in 2011. In terms of games, The Thing also has board games and comic books. But it also had a direct continuation from The Thing 1982 with The Thing video game in 2002, where John Carpenter actually plays a small character in the game as well,
And it was
voicing the part.
fucking great.
It was great.
It was a
So
great
many
game.
ramps. So many ramps.
Yeah.
Moving on to Saw, right now we have 10 movies in the franchise, or we're about to, sorry. The 10th one is now in production,
How many have you
due
saw?
out next year. The first Saw movie released in
Too many.
2004, then it was every year afterwards, every Halloween,
Halloween.
up until the final chapter, where we saw a 7-year break before it came back with Jigsaw, and then a sidequel, really, or The Spiral, from the Book of Saw in 2021, which is looking at having a TV continuation of The Spirals, considering it didn't do well enough to continue to get movie sequels.
'Cause it was
Which is why we're going back
fucking
to Saw
retarded.
with Saw X next. There's 2 video games, the Saw video game in 2009, and then Saw 2 Flesh and Blood 2010. I'll start again with this one, shall I?
Lady
I'll go
of
with
If you want,
Advance,
mine's gonna be
yeah.
fast, but you
I'll
go
go
for
with
it.
the video games on this one. The Saw video games were awful.
I didn't mind the first one.
It was neat. The
Yeah.
idea of playing a character and being in Saw puzzle traps and seeing the
First
gore.
one's- I thought the first one was alright.
The mechanics were bad. It was janky.
It was.
But some of the puzzles were interesting,
Yeah.
and some of the setups were pretty. It was neat. But by the second one, it was just like, oh god, it's
Yeah, I never
not
played the
great.
second
With the Saw franchise, it's a great storyline from 1 through to 6.
Final chapter, yeah.
And the 3D one was fine. I
3D
remember
one is
watching
the
it in
final
3D.
one of the
Yeah, of the whole
self-contained
story. Yeah. I don't like the first Saw film. I think it's really cheap looking. I hate the editing. But I thought the idea was brilliant. And I absolutely have loved my torture porn, route through the franchise. Didn't like Jigsaw. I thought Spiral was one of the worst horror films I've seen in a long time. But I'd still buy a ticket to see another Saw movie. I'm not totally out of this franchise yet. If they can find an original, interesting story to keep making more, do it. The Thing, my god, man. John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982 is my favorite horror film ever. It has a real lackluster prequel that I enjoy, but goddamn do I get so frustrated watching it though.
You hate the ukuleles,
What
didn't you?
could have been.
The ukuleles weren't invented.
It's not just
by-
ukuleles I'm getting irritated with. It's the whole idea of this Norwegian camp filled with Americans. It's just like
Fucking stupid.
the CGI nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, taking a page from Ian's book, we all know they're already dead in the next movie, so
Yeah.
what's the point in watching it? But no, it was interesting to see all the set pieces in the monster take the various shapes and play the guessing game once more. The Thing, John Carpenter, is the ultimate paranoia movie. It has a really good... it had a really good video game that I think is dated, unfortunately. The mechanics didn't work. You can do a test on someone and they go, they're not the Thing. Let's step into this door. Oh, you're the Thing. And it's like, we've taken one step forward and you're the Thing now. The game was broken.
the lines.
Fundamentally broken. The developers knew that. They were forced to rush it out. A real shame. They were working on a sequel. Funding was cut. Never happened. A real shame because The Thing, as a video game, would be outstanding. And I would love for like the team that made The Quarry to have the chance to tell a Thing interactive story video game. I think that would be amazing. So looking at both of these franchises, it's there's only 3 movies to watch with The Thing. There's the graphic novels and video games. Saw has 2 movies in there that I think are utterly dreadful, and 2 video games that I would never play again. Then again, I'd probably also never play the Thing video game again now. Played it enough. At the end of the day, the strength of the original Thing movie over the original Saw movie, I'm gonna go with The Thing on this one. I love my Saws, but I love The Thing more. And because there's less to go around, I think its strength was in 2 movies, 2/3, which is very strong compared to the Saw, which has diluted itself too much. Tough pick though, because I do like my Saws. But yeah, Thing for me.
Fair. This wasn't hard for me at all because I don't like the fucking Saw movies.
Oh.
I like the first one. Thought the first
Sure.
one was alright. It was an interesting idea. I did enjoy that first video game. Second Saw movie, I was kind of like, yeah, this isn't too bad, but I feel like it's a bit more of a body count movie. I just like throwing more people at it and stuff. And then I watched the third one. I think I might have seen part of the fourth one. I fucking binned it off. I couldn't stand it.
Sure.
Honestly, I was like, fuck it. This ain't interesting. I don't think Jigsaw was interesting. Personally, it just didn't do anything for me at all. I tried to watch Jigsaw recently in preparation for this. Got 20 minutes in. I was like, this is so fucking dumb. I'm turning it off. I was like, you could escape through the plot holes of this movie. I don't know why you're still there.
I just want to add one last thing as well. Saw has another video game appearance in Dead by Daylight.
Oh, right on.
So,
yeah, of course.
It's not its own thing, but the property continues. The franchise continues.
with the thing, obviously, literally just to echo exactly what you said. I wonder if I'm looking through the Thing video game with rose tinted glasses because we all played it
At the house.
Yeah.
So maybe that's maybe why I think.
I think
it's better
out of
than
the
it
three of
was.
us, I'm the only one who's completed it more times than once.
I
already played it the fucking first
completed
time.
like 3
However,
I never finished it.
However, I do think it's got one of the top 5 board games of all time. The Thing
up there with
that
Jaws as well.
fucking board
The
game is
amazing.
phenomenal. Yeah, so I'm gonna go the Thing all the way. But I'll be honest, you could put me personally, you could probably put any of these franchises against Saw, and I'll just be like,
Yeah.
yeah, that one. You know,
See,
That's fine, yeah.
That's me.
I absolutely loved the Saw series because the first time I was told about Saw 1, it was just like 2 guys are locked in a room, and there's a dead guy. One of them's a killer. And I'd seen so many horror movies up to that point. I'm like, well, if the 2 guys chained up are innocent, then the killer's obviously the guy on the floor. We just need to work out why he is. And then it just started to create this horror character, Jigsaw. Now, what made him different to your Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface, all that kind of, is that Jigsaw, as the films developed, you understood his backstory, and you understood what he was doing was he wasn't taking innocent people and putting them into traps. He was taking shitty ass people and putting them into traps and making them fight for their survival because
Reminding them for a reason to live.
they had spent their whole life just fucking people over. So, you know, you start with the first one with Carrie Ewells as the doctor, then you have the stuff with the cops, then you get deeper into the corruption of the city, then you get into understanding more other people, and it did start to just, much like what you're like sometimes with the Conjuring series, you know, or, you know, where you're just like, oh, I'm just going to keep going back, and I was waiting for them to fuck up, and it wasn't until like 2 movies after they'd killed Jigsaw off that I was like, you can't keep this franchise going. You've killed him too early. You know, you should have ended it when you did, but you didn't, and you're still trying to milk it. So then when, so what was it? It was,
Hoffman is
no,
Amanda.
Jigsaw came out, and we went to the cinema with it,
yeah.
and the guy with the lasers, and I was just like, this. Before the film had even finished, it was halfway through, and I'm like, that guy's going to be working with Jigsaw because that's how this series works.
Yeah.
Spiral came out, and I was watching it, and I'm like, who thought giving Chris Rock this franchise was a good idea? Because he's not a good lead. I know exactly what I'm looking for, and I can see it blatantly right in front of me. Oh, he's the killer? What a fucking surprise. Was not surprised. So it's like
I hated the script for Spiral. I didn't mind the idea of it, but I just hated the
let's
script.
push this guy through 2/3 of this movie and then kill him off screen. I'm sure
Yeah,
that's the last
it was,
one here.
yeah.
Fuck my life.
And like with the Friday the 13th series, you know, same with the Saw series, I was like, I know what I'm going for. I don't really care for the script. I'm looking for the gore. And some of the kills were really good. Now, I know it's already gone through, but I'm just going to back up my argument because I'm going to be saying it again when it goes up against something else. The Thing is just phenomenal. Nothing for me personally even comes fucking close to The Thing because I watched a film by John Carpenter once and was like, I need to see more. And then I'm a kid, I'm sat in my bedroom on a Saturday night and The Thing starts. I can watch The Thing and I can tell you where the advert breaks were on the TV because I watched it so much. You know, just the paranoia, the hauntingness. I know a lot of people have problems with the prequel, and you can say what you want about the characters or the CGI, but the fact that they did their very, very best to connect the 2 films so that when that prequel ends and the helicopter's chasing the dog and the music kicks in, you're going right to 1982.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And you're going to follow Kurt Russell walk right back into that camp. Yes, it looks a little bit different. Things have been moved around, but it was fucking 20 years different. We're lucky we even got a sequel. A video game of The Thing. Oh my fucking lord, I was all over it. And yeah, The Thing, all the way.
Nice, yeah. Thing goes through. I think it's the first one we've had 3 votes all the way in.
How did Charles play as well?
Oh, Charles played 2.
Charles
Nice,
Play, yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the next one is a Wes Craven face-off, as we have Nightmare on Elm Street seeing against Scream. So let's look. We have 9 movies currently in the Nightmare series, with the original 1984 movie with Freddy's Revenge in 85, The Dream Warriors in 87, The Dream Master in 88, then The Dream Child in 89, then Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare in 91, before Wes Craven's New Nightmare in 94, then Freddy vs. Jason 2003, and then the remake in 2010. Of course, Freddy had his own TV series in 1988, Freddy's Nightmares, with 44 episodes. Of course, there's novelizations of every movie. There are comic books, film merch, video games, and of course, a Dead by Daylight appearance. Scream. There are 5 movies currently in the franchise, with the 6th one on the way next year.
God.
The first one was in 1996. Followed the year after in 97. Scream 3 was in 2000. Then an 11-year gap until Scream 4. Then another 10-year gap to Scream, which is Scream 5. And we have an untitled Scream sequel coming next year.
Screams.
There was yet also a Scream TV series which ran for 29 episodes from 2015 to 2019. So both movies have TV series based on them. Nightmare has been around a little bit longer, has more movies in it, but Scream also spawned the Scary Movie franchise, and of course also appeared in Dead by Daylight, the game.
I'll start this one if you want, because I'm gonna say that for me, because so I thought that Scream in 1996 was a really good film. I loved the way it reinvented the franchise, the slashers. But I think the whole franchise is fucking law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
I just it literally just goes downhill for me now. Nightmare on Elm Street, apart from having Freddy Krueger, who was literally responsible for my nightmares from the age of 6 when I first watched it to the age of about 15 when I had the balls to rewatch it. I mean, he is one of the fucking horror icons. You know, there's no fucking with it.
Yeah.
Amazing fucking performances by Robert Englund. You know, even, obviously, you know, shit goes sideways a little bit, you know, with some of the performances. But those first 3 for a start are just phenomenal movies in my head. And I'm like, fucking Dream Warriors, man, is just one of the best horror movies in my opinion that I've ever seen. With the setting is amazing, the performances. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong.
Until the dogs turn up with the horrible masks on at the end.
It's supposed to be a horror.
I prefer Dream Warriors, you know what I mean?
Fucking Dream Warriors, he's injecting
Do you know what's ironic?
drugs into people.
Do you know what's ironic? There was like four. The big problem I have with 4 is the way they fuck over the survivors from 3.
Yeah,
immediately.
But it's like the biggest grossing one at the time or something, so they instantly was like, fucking bang these out. Dream Child is like, you start also getting to the point where like 4 is when he starts getting too campy.
Yeah.
You know, and then like Dream Child is like he's you know.
Is that the one where he's Jaws? No, it's the one where he turns into a bike.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
And that's like the best bit of the fucking movie.
It is
that's
that
like
sequence,
the best kill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, by the time you get to fucking Freddy's Dead, like, I'll get you my
that's-
pretty. It's sort of like if you had like Dream Master was like fucking Thor Ragnarok for like, this is the comedic tone we're gonna take. By Freddy, by Final Nightmare, we're way into Love and Thunder territory. Like, you know what I mean? I think that fucking New Nightmare is one of the best in the series. Personally,
Absolutely,
I think
it's so ahead of its time.
Totally ahead of
It's
its
like,
time.
I mean, we talked earlier about the actress wanted to come back to do a legacy film.
Yeah.
I'm like, you did it in '94.
I
You did it.
fucking love New Nightmare.
She
I thought it was
didn't want to
brilliant.
come back then. She just did.
There's a bit of a weak fucking end. I mean, don't get me
It
wrong.
is, yeah.
Some of the resurrection. I mean, is it 4 where he gets awoken by dog piss?
Yeah,
Dog
that's how-
piss?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what?
He gets pissed
The
off.
fuck? But,
Well, it's because he was buried in consecrated ground.
Oh, well,
So
yeah,
they got
this all
pissing on
tracks.
it.
This all tracks.
It's Robert Englund's intro in Freddy vs. Jason, which I really think cements the entire series of him just turning evil
they really
again.
So
up
strong.
the makeup.
So
the
strong.
The eyes are incredible in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, there's a remake.
Yeah, and it sucks.
It sucks.
It tanks this franchise harder than some of the worst sequels.
I liked matey. What's his name? What's his name?
Hayden Christian Anderson.
No.
Magic Jackson.
I like the dude who played
Rorschach.
Rorschach.
Yeah.
This is why we need the chat.
Yeah.
By the way, I liked him in the role. I thought he could be a good Freddy Krueger.
It's just the script.
Shit script.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, yeah, it's an easy one for me personally. Is I think Nightmare goes through because even for all the fucking dips, I can probably pick a few kills I like out of Dream Master and Dream Child and Nightmare.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I also completely acknowledge the fact that is it the MPCC or whoever it is, MPAA, thank you, just wrecked these movies as well.
Oh, yeah.
They kicked the shit out of them, especially 5. So I got to give them a little bit of leeway on that, you know. But I fucking love Freddy Krueger. He's awesome.
Yeah.
I've got to vote.
Yeah.
Nice.
My-
Ian, do you want to go?
My vote is for Nightmare as well, because like I liked Scream when it came out. Like Andy said, it reinvented the franchise. But once again, I was so educated on horror movies up to this point, and it's the same thing that I had with Saw. It's like I had people running up to me going, "Oh yeah, there's this guy going around in a mask, and he's a killer, and he's killing these teens." And I'm like, "Well, he must be one of them." Because he's not supernatural. Freddy was supernatural. Freddy was a demon spirit coming back to life.
Trapped in a movie by 2010.
I understand what Wes Craven was trying to do with Scream, because he'd milked the fucking Nightmare franchise so much that he was just like, well, I need to do something else. And so he made Scream. It worked. But then they're like, Scream 2, Scream 3. I remember seeing Scream 3 in the cinema, and I'm like, it's going to be her brother. She's going to have a brother. And then the guy's like, hey, I'm related to you. And I was like, fuck this series. I paid money to come see this in the cinema. It's just fucking a waste of my time. I've always loved Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 because it was the first one I ever watched. I love number 1 because they kill off Johnny Depp, which is a rarity. Number 3 is really fun, but it is the start of Freddy becoming his campness. Everything after that, up to Freddy vs. Jason, is fun and nostalgic if you're doing the series. And you can't say that with Scream. You know, I'd even watch Freddy's Nightmare, the TV series, over the Scream TV series.
Same.
Easy.
I managed 2 episodes of the Scream TV series. I was like, nope, no more.
Yeah. So, yeah, my vote's for Freddy.
Yeah, well, Freddy's going through. I'm not going to linger on this one too long for the interest of time. Scream 1 is excellent. A Nightmare on Elm Street is better.
Yes.
A Nightmare on
Agreed.
Elm Street 2 is weak, but it's still better than Scream 2.
Yeah.
Or any of the others.
Scream 3 is dire.
Yeah.
Scream 4 was okay. Scream 5 was abysmal. I enjoyed it. And I'll be there to see the 6th one. I love the Scooby-Doo endings, okay? I want to sit there going, you're the killer. No, you're the killer. Oh, no, you're the killer. Oh, it was you. Oh, I got my money's worth.
I'd rather watch Scary Movie over Scream, actually.
Same.
The thing is, I'm kind of sad that most of my favourite characters are no longer going to be returning for the next Scream movie. Most of them died. You know what? I would honestly prefer to watch like Stab 26 or wherever the Stab franchise is
man.
at in another universe. They're
Stab 3D.
yes.
Why did you
You're
have
like,
this?
oh.
Yeah. But interestingly, yeah, both these characters have also appeared in Dead by Daylight, which I think is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to the next one. Next up, we have the Evil Dead franchise going up against Hellraiser.
Oh, man.
So we have currently 4 movies in the Evil Dead franchise, with a 5th one that will be out soon, Evil Dead Rise. But Evil Dead 1 in 81, Evil Dead 2 in 87, Army of Darkness in 92, then a remake in 2013, Rise coming soon. In television department, we've got Ash vs. Evil Dead that ran for 3 seasons, 2015 through to 2018. In the games department, I've listed Evil Dead on the Commodore and ZX Spectrum in 84. We had Evil Dead Hail to the King in 2000, followed by Fistful of Boomstick in 2003.
Fucking game.
There was also a bunch of Evil Deads on for the mobile, like a bunch of them. Then we had Evil Dead Regeneration. Lots more mobile phone games in between them before getting Evil Dead the game released earlier this year. It should also be said that Evil Dead has continued in comics versus Freddy and Jason versus Marvel, and is also a character in Dead by Daylight and now Fortnite, is it?
Yeah, Fortnite Mary's Born
Also, not many on this list can vouch and say this. An awesome musical.
a great musical.
Evil Dead the musical.
Evil Dead the musical.
So, it's got some good competition here, though. Maybe.
No.
Actually, no, it doesn't.
No.
Hellraiser, 1987, outstanding classic horror movie. Hellraiser, Hellbound 2 in 88. Hell on Earth in 92. Bloodline in 96. Inferno in 2000. Hellseeker 2002, Deader in 2005, Hellworld in 2005, then Revelations in 2011, and then Judgment 2018 before a remake Hellraiser just this year in 2022. Of course, you've got the novels, The Hellbound Heart, which was released in 86, and then The Scarlet Gospels, released in 2015. Various comics and stories, and is also appearing in the Dead by Daylight, the video game.
We're seeing a theme.
Yeah, this is not. We're not getting paid by Dead by Daylight
Yeah,
here.
Go on, take it through. You go for it.
Evil Dead wins this hands
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Easily,
Easy,
right?
easy.
We're just gonna all do this together.
Yeah, should we move?
fuck it. Evil Dead wins.
Like even Evil Dead's worst fucking day. Its first
Which
three,
it doesn't have.
its first 3 movies are superior to the first 3 Hellraiser movies, and then you could take those first 3 movies and then compare the rest of them to the Hellraiser series. And Inferno is not that great. Hellseeker is definitely not that great. Dead is even worse. Hellworld is worse. Revelations is worse. Judgment is worse. Hellraiser 2022. I know everybody's jumping on the bandwagon of this and going, "Oh, it's so amazing." Sit through fucking other 8 fucking Hellraiser movies and see how fucking excited you are to sit through another one. If somebody goes to me, "Oh,
Good though, isn't it?
I haven't seen the remake, but it's like when somebody says to me like, "Oh, they're putting Evil Dead in a tower block," I'm like, I still have to see that. I don't. It's like, well, I wasn't too fussed about the remake personally because
Well, the Evil Dead remake.
yeah, because
I fucking love that movie.
I love it too.
after Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, I was a bit worried.
Oh yeah, you got every right in the world to be like feel
And
like
then-
you're gonna get burned.
And then
sure.
we went and watched the remake, and we did a little video for it when we
We were a
first
bit
doing the
mixed
show.
on it. We're
And
still
were a bit
positive,
mixed
but
of it.
mixed.
But then
Yeah.
I've gone back and I've re-watched it, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? This really does work.
Yeah.
You know, if it's completely on its own without Ash, it still works with this book, with the kids getting killed.
Interestingly,
Yeah.
watching because it's Hellraiser versus Evil Dead right now.
Yeah.
The Hellraiser remake will remind you of the Evil Dead remake immediately, with the protagonist girl having a
Being a
substance
drug
abuse
addict,
problem,
yeah. I thought
trying
that.
to recover, and then having the evil, the Deadites, help her get over this addiction, where it was the Deadites in Evil Dead.
But in the remake, she rips her fucking arm off and fights it with a chainsaw.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's
That's
horrifying.
fucking-
Evil Dead. I think Evil Dead remake trumps the Hellraiser reboot in its gore department.
Yeah.
I agree.
When it rains blood, it's outstanding. The visuals. They rebuilt the cabin.
And that guy-
Cuts her fucking tongue in half
Yeah.
now with that Stanley blade,
Yeah.
and then when she's in the shower, I'm like,
She cuts her arm off too.
That guy's like, "Oh, don't read this book." I know. I'm gonna read it.
Well, I've got to find
well,
out
a
why.
cabin in the woods where the stoner's like, I'm drawing a line in the fucking sand. Don't read the Latin.
Evil
Yeah, no,
Dead
but to me-
trumping Hellraiser.
To me,
yeah.
that was a no-brainer because honestly, I'm like it for me as well with Evil Dead, and Army of Darkness. That's a series that for me gets better with each one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Evil Dead. I think Evil Dead 2 is better, and then I think Army of Darkness is better again. Personally, and Army of Darkness shouldn't as well because like if you watch that movie, apart from the fucking fountain of blood, there's no gore in that movie
It was the first one I saw.
because it was all fucking skeletons and dust.
Barry Norman got me on Army of Darkness because I watched his
The
review
most
of it.
iconic cover of any horror movie ever, where Ash is ripped more than Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the poster for months, watching the film because it was the first one
Yeah.
I watched, and going like, "Fuck, you ain't,
You're in that.
you ain't fucking that ripped." I call bullshit.
Alrighty, moving on to the final of the first round of knockouts. We're seeing Halloween go up against Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Right now, we have 13 films in the Halloween
coming in with a recent
franchise.
handicap.
Let's list them off, shall we? Original Halloween in 1978, with a sequel in 81. Season of the Witch in 82. Return of Michael Myers in 88. The Revenge in 89. The Curse in 95. H2O 20 years later in 98. Resurrection in 2002. Then Halloween 2007. Halloween 2 2009. Followed by Halloween in 2018, Halloween Kills in 21, and Halloween Ends in 22. Numerous comics and novels, and also appears in Dead by Daylight, the game. Moving on to Texas
Who we
Chainsaw
are
Massacre,
sponsored by.
we have 9 movies in this franchise so far, with the first being in 1974, the second in 86, the third one in 1990, the Next Generation in 94, then the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, Then The Beginning in 2006, 3D in 2013, Leatherface in 2017, and then just yet again Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022.
Netflix movie, yeah.
Numerous games
shit,
and
that was.
comics. One of the earliest games was on the Atari in 1982. A new game is being in development by Gun Interactive right now, based on the original movie, and also appears in Dead by Daylight, the game.
I'll go because I kind of have to go with my boy Michael on this one. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 versus Halloween 1. Both of those movies are absolutely fucking legendary.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre has a title that makes you think it's just going to be a gore fest, and it was banned.
Huge
And it
controversy,
was
yeah.
whole controversy behind it, and yet when you do watch it and you're a teen like I was watching it for the first time, because you're getting a chance to, after all the horror movies you see, you realize that it's more than just a kind of gore fest. It's actually like an experience, you know. Same kind of
It's a can you say you've seen it sort of movie, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like when
yeah.
we were growing up, it's like, have you seen it?
like
oh, I've
yeah,
heard.
you remember that whole chase at the end and the lighting and things like that. And
Yeah, great finding, girl.
Halloween still has, it kind of has the same thing where, you know, it's just so iconic for a horror movie for its time. I mean, the title alone just sells it for October 31st every fucking year. Now, both franchises have massive issues. I prefer Halloween 2 over Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, because Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 might
It's
as well
such an
be
odd film, isn't it?
Exorcist 2, because it's just he just
Bill Mosley, though, right?
Yeah.
he decided
he's
to go
great.
comedy route, and it's
Yeah.
like, why?
It's
Well,
so
because
weird.
Toby Hooper, he
Why?
just didn't want to do it, or they
it's so
just
fucking weird, man.
The third movie's pretty damn good. You've got
Lot of
fucking
drugs.
Aragorn and fucking
Leatherface,
Keith
Viggo Mortensen
David.
one.
You know,
Ken Forey in that one?
Ken
Yeah.
Forey, sorry, yeah, Ken Forey's in that one. But I think I do prefer Season of the Witch, because once again, John Carpenter was trying to do something new for cinema, and it was the studios come along going, no, John, we don't think you know what you're doing behind the camera. We know what sells, and it's like, fuck you guys. I know what sells. People just will come to the cinema and watch whatever we put in front of them, but we just need to make the stories work. You know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation is fucking bullshit. I saw both remakes. I thought they were pretty good, but
Do you know what? Other than the first one, I think the remakes are actually the best films in the series for Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Those
Because
those
of
first
fucking-
two remakes, that one in
Yeah.
the beginning.
what's his face from Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah,
He
dude, it's
makes
Sheriff Hoyt.
such-
Fucking
Sheriff
brilliant.
Hoyt is
And
fucking
also
great.
the guy playing fucking Leatherface is like, okay, that guy I buy.
Yeah,
That
in the
guy I
role,
buy
yeah.
is like, he was going to fuck your day up. Because you think about, like, before, when you get to Next Generation, they really fucking do
They
Leatherface
really
dirty
do,
in that
yeah.
one. It's
Yeah.
like, why the fuck are we
But
scared of this?
But it's like it just gets worse
Big
from
old
there,
tranny.
because they do the remakes, but then there's like we said, the Netflix movie was fun, but it was fucking stupid.
Sucked.
There was that one where he was living in the basement of the house, and it turns out he's related to her at the end. I didn't even watch that.
Yeah,
one. I
that
just
was the
wikied it.
Leatherface 3D one, wasn't
That's
it? 'Cause
right,
the one after that is the only one I haven't seen, but I remember watching. Yeah, so
Now-
yeah, Leatherface I've not seen. Texas Chainsaw 3D, yeah, was the one.
I know Michael's got some stinkers.
No, listen, I'm gonna make this real easy because I'm gonna agree with you, and I've got to put Halloween above Texas
but
Chainsaw
love
Massacre
hurts.
because
Love hurts.
there's 15 different continuities in the Halloween movies,
And
and they're still better than the Sawyers, unfortunately. I like the family. I think the family are a phenomenal group of characters in the
Yes.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. Don't get me wrong, but the only true version of them that I really like is those remakes, because they're just at their fucking down and dirtiest, really.
Yeah,
do you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Which is funny
They're
because
like real
I
people.
don't like the Rob Zombie versions of Halloween. You know, like.
his first
so
one's
yeah.
good, but Halloween
It's not
2
too bad.
Rob
2's
Zombies.
really bad though.
Yeah.
I can't stand
The
the
White
fucking,
Horse.
the White Horse thing was bullshit, and I can't stand the fucking grunting Michael. So yeah. Anyway,
And he speaks as well.
by the way, we are gonna have to pause after this first round because I'm gonna explode if I don't.
No problem. Well, it's already
Anyway,
been
it's Michael
decided
Myers,
by
I didn't mean to do that, but
It's going to be Michael Myers going through Halloween, going through. I'm intended to agree. Like, even the bad Halloween films give me some joy over the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's bad films. Those bad films are just bad, and I don't get anything fun from them. I love John Carpenter's Halloween. Not the biggest fan of Halloween 2, but I really like The Return of Michael Myers Part 4. Of course, Season of the Witch is one of those films that's grown and grown and grown on me. I think it's iconic. I love the... what I like about some of the early Halloween films is how cozy they kind of are as horror films, because of all of the Halloween imagery, that autumn glow that the films have. Whereas Texas Chainsaw Massacre is stark and it is raw, and you can feel that Texas heat on everything, and it's so uncomfortable, so raw and realistic and brutal that it stays with you. The original film stays with you for a while.
Some grainy shit.
Some real grainy shit. But its bad films are much worse. Much, much worse than the Halloween films. I have no real love for Texas Chainsaw Massacre as a franchise at all. I enjoyed the first one. The second one is just wild. I didn't mind the Next Generation. It was kind of fun. All right. Yeah. And there were scenes in the 2022
well, right?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre where I got to see an actual Chainsaw Massacre, a busload of it. That was the only saving grace of that film, though. So yeah, Halloween is going through. But we are going to take a very quick break here. But I'm pretty sure the finale here will go very, very quickly. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll see you for the semi and final rounds.
Semi.
Alrighty, well, we're down to the final 8. First up, we're going to see Psycho versus The Silence of the Lambs. Then it's Aliens versus Child's Play. The Thing versus Freddy Krueger. Ash versus Michael Myers. So first up...
I'd watch that film.
Yeah, right.
That actually sounds like a title of a movie, and I would watch that.
Okay, it's Psycho versus The Silence of the Lambs. Ian, I'm going to throw this one straight to you.
Well, it's crazy because I really like Psycho and Psycho 2, but I think Silence of the Lambs trumps it. In overall Hannibal Lecter versus Norman Bates kind of aspect, if I had to put them off against each other,
I would say it's
I think
because
Hannibal Lecter's more interesting.
Yeah, and I think he's given much more of a psychological profiling throughout the course of his franchise, which makes him fascinating and interesting, and
nobody else can really play Norman Bates like Anthony Perkins.
I also give you that.
You know,
until we see
Gus Van Sant proved that.
Right.
And
Oh dear.
it's weird that you with Hannibal Lecter, kind of any really good actor can play Hannibal Lecter, but they've got the novels to fall back on. They've got this backstory. They've got Clarice. They've got all this other stuff. And so, yeah, I'm going to go with Silence of the Lambs. I think it's just a better... Well, Hannibal Lecter series is just a better horror franchise.
Just funny, because I know, obviously, I'm going to go with fucking Silence of the Lambs. But this is actually closer for me than it was to Jaws, because I absolutely agree. I mean, when it comes to... Now, at least, we're comparing, two sort of, antagonists, protagonists, however you want to look at it. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah.
I agree. I think there's more to Hannibal Lecter as a character, and again, I'm biased because I've read all the books, whereas I haven't read anything on the Psycho side. But I think he's a more complex character. I think also there are a lot less troughs in the Silence of the Lambs franchise than there is Psycho. And again, you have no idea how much heavy lifting that series does.
Yeah.
I
mean, Psycho 4 and Hannibal Rising are kind of on par with each other.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah, totally. But I don't,
But like you said, the writer of Hannibal Rising, he didn't want to do it, and so it's just, the heart's not there,
Yeah, it was just It was echoed in Rhys Ifans' performance, I think, in the movie. Yeah, I don't want a beer either. Payday.
Tough one for me, this one. I think I enjoy the performances more with the Psychos because, again, the consistency of watching this actor play this part over all these decades, that really intrigues me. And again, a really good TV show. However, the Silence of the Lambs TV show, the Hannibal TV show, blows the Bates Motel out of the water. Plus, Anthony Hopkins, Mads Mikkelsen, performance, iconic, legendary. Silence of the Lambs, again, I think, it's close. It is close, but overall, I think the strength of those films, even their weaker ones, are better than some of the weaker Psycho ones.
You got to think a lot of this at this point as well comes down to if I said to you, you had to either rewatch.
Which one would you watch?
Which one would
Yeah.
you rewatch? Isn't it?
Yeah, I'd take Silence of the Lambs over this.
Yeah.
All right, Silence is moving on through.
Come on, Gary. Lead us straight in with Aliens and Child
Aliens going against Child's
Because I
Play.
know this is gonna hurt. I told you.
The question is, like Bride and Seed of Chucky, I think, are worse films than Alien Resurrection. Alien.
Nah.
I think Alien Resurrection is better than Seed and Curse of Chucky. I think Alien Resurrection is better than a lot of the Chucky films. But again, Chucky is consistent, and Aliens gives us Alien versus
That's
Predator.
what I was gonna say.
It gives us Covenant and Prometheus, and I like Prometheus a lot. I just don't see it as an Alien film. I know it's in the Alien universe, but it is its own film. It has terrible writing, but it has some glorious visuals. Ridley Scott is a masterful director when it comes to visuals. You know, you can give him a two pence set, and he'll turn that into, you know, a masterpiece. Given he's got the right tools and the right people with him. Dan O'Bannon for one.
Yeah.
You know.
but like we said, with Don Mancini's
been there
can
from the
take
start. Yeah.
2 pence
Yeah.
and make a fucking franchise out of it
Yeah.
with Child's Play. He doesn't
The
need the big money.
the
or the big
Alien
visuals.
and the Alien Queen has some of the best, you know, puppetry in film.
Outstanding. Yeah.
But so does Chucky.
Chucky.
Yeah.
And
does.
they've been pioneering in developing that tech
Yeah.
throughout. I would much rather on any given day sit down and watch any of the Alien films. But I'm being unbiased because my heart says Aliens. But in terms of the strengths of franchises, my vote goes to Child's Play.
I'd go with Child's Play too on that kind of balance. Like, I love the Alien series, but Covenant is bad. Fucking Prometheus just doesn't work in a storyline, you know. And so if I'm gonna be at least balancing for consistency of their storylines, fucking Chucky goes all the way from his first movie to a fucking TV series and keeps
Aliens is going to be getting one soon though.
Well, yeah, but they haven't got one now. Chucky's just finished season 1 of his series, and it was fun. It incorporated all the movies, and you just had a good laugh with it. You know, Alien, like I said, it keeps trying to change things for itself, not for what the fans like. You know, like even Sigourney Weaver gave up after the 3rd movie. Brad Dourif's been there since
Oh,
the
so Brad
start.
Dourif was also in
It
Aliens.
was in Resurrection, wasn't
Yeah.
He was in Resurrection, you know.
Butterfly.
But yeah, so for me, it'd have to be Child's Play.
I've also got to say, just to confirm, Aliens Colonial Marines. You can understand why now. Enough said.
This is obviously it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because Charles
It's
Play's
chosen
gone through.
there,
But
yeah.
I honestly, out of the two, for rewatch value, I'm gonna say Alien
Yeah.
because the funny thing is like with the stinkers in Child's Play that I've watched, I'm like when I've finished them, I've never fucking watching that movie ever again. The fucked up thing. There's something about Alien that makes you almost want.
Oh.
You watch Covenant and fucking Prometheus with a fucking. I will find something good in this goddamn movie if it kills me, and there's something about that charm that for me still makes Alien such a strong franchise. It's,
Yeah.
look, at the end of the day,
I love Aliens.
I
and Alien
haven't made
3
time
so
to watch
much.
the Child's Play series, and again, this is just on me. I haven't made time to watch the Child's Play series yet. I want to because it looks great. If a new Alien movie releases tomorrow, I want to know when so I can go see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm always keeping my ear
But
to the
I,
ground
but
for new
I
Alien.
completely get where you're coming from with the Child's Play series. Consistent.
Yeah, it's just that Aliens is hurt so much with, you know, 3 great movies, 1 Resurrection movie, and then 4 shitty movies with the Alien in it. It's just, you know, it destroyed the legacy. Like there are now more bad Alien movies than good ones.
Yeah.
Child's Play has more good ones than bad ones.
It's a fair shout.
Yeah, it does.
Can't argue with
So it's, but yeah, it breaks my heart to see that in front of me, because yeah, sometimes when I think of like fucking Seed of Chucky, like Yeah, it's fun,
kills-
but
he
it's
kills
shit,
Batman.
you know?
It's shit. But it's Chucky.
On a technical level, Alien Covenant is better than all the Child's Play movies.
Of course.
But shit writing, and it doesn't have the soul, the love that's behind Chucky. So yeah. Okay,
All right, let's have a fight.
let's fight. It's fighting
this is
time.
easy.
It's John Carpenter versus Wes Craven.
Now,
The Thing versus Freddy Krueger.
Now I don't really care if the Thing gets knocked out at this point, but I will put this across as its argument, and it's what we keep saying throughout all of these franchises about their strengths. Yeah, we can laugh all day and poke fun at all the things that we don't like about it, and then kind of balance them up. But it really comes down to its strengths, and for me, the Thing's strength is because it's so small. You know, it's a tiny little novel which became a black and white movie, which then the director decided to remake, which then we got a prequel sequel for that we never ever thought that we'd do. And it all that in itself, for me personally, makes the Thing so strong, because you've got a little bit of everything wherever you want to go. You want to watch a black and white old 1950s movie? Boom, there you go. You want to watch one of the greatest fucking horror sci-fi movies with some of the greatest fucking special effects from Robo Team? Boom, there you go. You've never seen either of those and you're a bit of a CGI kid? Well, here's a CGI movie. Boom, there you go. You don't have to start going, oh, well, hold on, well, what about the one where the Thing was actually talking and was a woman and actually had feelings and we realised it's got a past and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to delve into it. Nightmare, I love Nightmare, but the moment he starts talking about his fucking daughter and him trying to be human and the remake of them trying to, oh, was Freddy actually a bad guy? No, he's a fucking killer and I want to be scared. And for me, that's where the Thing wins.
As a franchise, on the whole, I gotta go Nightmare. And as much I will agree with you all day about the Thing, John Carpenter's Thing, being like the best fucking horror movie of all time. It's hard to fucking, like I said, it comes up with that or probably Alien to me, where I'm like, it's these two. Pick a day of the week, I'll fucking give you a different answer. You know what I mean? But as a franchise, for what it created and for iconic characters, because I think you're absolutely right. You can tell a million different stories using the Thing, because it's basically like, now it goes here, now it goes there, and now it goes there. But that's literally like, you could probably take 20 fucking horror movies that no one's ever heard of and just inject the Thing as the antagonist in it. You know, Life could have been the Thing. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Life which Alien was the Thing.
Which is very
Such
cool.
a hybrid.
However, like, but okay then, so that's what we're saying, is we can do it in anything, whereas Nightmare is like, as an actual horror franchise, is based around really this one fucking character and this one fucking street.
But it's weakness.
You know what I mean?
The longer
It's got some weaknesses, absolutely. Law of Diminishing Returns, absolutely.
It gets
But
weaker.
I think even the weaker Nightmare films, it makes the better ones even better.
Yeah, it does.
and every film adds to the lore, whereas you almost can't watch one without wanting to watch the rest. You kind of want to follow the story
If
through.
you take Freddy's Dead as, say, just for argument's sake, being the worst one, it's like, you still at least get, like,
some
this...
funny one-liners,
Well,
some
no,
good
you at least
makeup.
still get sort of like, fuck me, did you just see him with his dad? Who's Alice Cooper, by the way. You know, like, okay, that's fine. Like, you
Roseanne
fucking
Barr.
see him as, like, a kid fucking killing animals and stuff. So, again, like, it all adds to the lore.
But it's
So,
just milking it. If you even
of course it's milking it. That's what a franchise is.
but what I'm saying is, like, you
Hey,
walk into a room and somebody goes, right, you can either watch John Carpenter's The Thing or the entire series of the Nightmare series.
What time have I got? You said, do you want to watch one movie or 8? Like, you know.
You got as
Well, you
long
have
as
to
want.
rewatch the Thing for the continuous runtime
No,
of all the Nightmare films.
Like I said,
Hey,
it's
dude,
just that feeling you get.
No, I love it. Yeah, I love it. I get it. It's your favourite movie, so I totally get it. But,
You've left me at a horrible...
but what I really wanted to do was make him decide.
Yes, you bastard, exactly.
But that's it. He's got a balance now.
I'm really stuck
He
here.
enjoys the Nightmare. He enjoys
I enjoy
the
it a
Nightmare
lot.
series, but he won't watch the entire series back to back because he knows that the
No, I always skip 2, and I never watch Freddy's Dead either.
Exactly. With The Thing, you never have to do that.
Don't skip 2. 2's great.
The Thing.
I mean, it has its moments for sure. I mean, Ian and I reviewed it this year, and like listening to Ian fully endorse and enjoy that sequel. It's like
Great
I
'Cause it's a
love
scary
listening to you talk
horror.
about Nightmare 2 more than Jaws 2. I think Nightmare 2 is a solid sequel, and you know it kept Freddy in our dreams enough to get us to Dream Warrior before like Freddy Mania took off.
Yeah, and it's just
I think Universal have been very good at remaining in control of the Thing franchise and
Yeah.
not milking it as
Yeah.
far as they want to, but they've made some bad choices with that prequel. Like the prequel, I know it has more strengths than weaknesses, but its weaknesses are so frustrating because they didn't need to be there.
But same thing
And
with
the
remake.
Thing who goes there, it's a great film. You know, Howard Hawks, the dialogue in it, the visuals, but it's pretty tame now, right? Well, I've just seen fucking Terrifier 2, so going back to watch, you know, you have to be in the mindset for that film. Almost any Freddy film, music's on, you're in the dream, you're in there, you're under the spell, yeah.
I'm biased because, like I said, I'm not exaggerating when I said that movie scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, it wasn't even the movie; it was the series. Because the first thing I saw as a child was my sister was like, "Watch this; it's really funny." Okay.
Yeah.
This is the last time she babysat because I didn't fucking sleep for 6 years.
The Thing is one of my favorite movies of all time. The Nightmare on Elm Street
I-
is one of the
I agree
strongest
again.
horror franchises.
Got the greatest jump scare of all time in the Thing with the fucking blood test.
Yeah, with
That's
the defibrillator,
If you-
the blood
that's
test,
it.
the
We're
the
talking-
canine
Love
dogs.
practical
we're
effects.
talking-
It's fucking flawless.
If we're talking on a technical level, then The Thing is superior. John Carpenter is a better director than Wes Craven.
Again,
Wes,
law of diminishing returns.
Wes Craven had to branch himself out to many different franchises to get his name caught out there. John Carpenter made one film, moved on. One film, moved on, and his name just became legend after legend after legend.
So did Wes Craven.
Yeah, it's
like
unfair,
they're
mate.
both.
I think they're both.
They're
No,
level
yeah,
players,
but
so.
differently because John Carpenter only made one return for making a sequel with Escape from LA, and that was only because the studio pushed it.
And Halloween too.
Same again, studio pushing it. He'd already finished with both those first films, left them with ambiguous endings. He
Yep.
finished it and he moved on. Wes Craven, it's like Hills Have Eyes, Last House on the Left, Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream. I know these are all really superior, but they just they didn't capture it. Like you said, Nightmare is the strongest out of all three of those film franchises. Nightmare is the strongest, and even then it suffers because they just milked it and milked it and milked it. The Thing is superior because it's smaller.
The fan base kept returning though. It was ripe for milking, and we lapped up that milkshake.
It does bring all the boys to
And
the
you-
yard.
It does, yeah.
on then.
I'm
What's the score?
so eager for a new Nightmare film. I want another Legacy sequel. We talked about it in numerous podcasts. Robert Englund saying he's too old. You know,
He is, and that's this is the problem. It's why
This is
we've
a
got the
really,
problem
really
with
tough
Halloween
one.
And the problem with Texas Chainsaw is that the fan base goes, "We'll watch the next one. Give us again," and it's never as good as the originals or the first ones that the directors first put out. That's what we're always after. We're always after what the director did the first time, and we never get it. John Carpenter's The Thing just does
I
that.
thi-
That
I'm-
gives you exactly what you
I'm
want.
gonna go with The Thing, I'm. It's only because I think because The Thing is so small as a franchise. I mean, it barely qualifies into
Yeah.
this category. But the fact that it's in there, and I think, you know, the strength of the first Thing movie. I'd rather watch that over Nightmare on Elm Street over any day really. But I love the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise
Yeah,
and all of its movies. Now, what I will say is, in strength of my choice for The Thing, is that the video game is fun. It's a fun continuation of the movie. But what I really am fascinated by the comic book stories in The Thing. I think they've shown so much creativity, gave us so much insight into the biology of The Thing and the host of The Thing, and on a psychological level, I find The Thing absolutely terrifying. Like, you know, like we've seen in the movies, the horrifying transformations or possessions when the Thing consumes you. But I'm fascinated on like the biological level of how the Thing can slowly transform you. And do you are aware of you becoming the Thing? Are you dead? When do you die? When does the Thing take over? Were you aware of this happening? Like, to the point where when you mutate and turn into the Thing, that you're shocked that you are the Thing. Like, all of that psychology is explored in the comic books. And I think another Thing movie, and we're going to get one based on the Frozen Hell, you know, the expanded short story. I think another Thing movie could be outstanding. You know, it is the peak of paranoia in film form. There's some very good, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers is right up there. But you know, I love Wes Craven and I love John Carpenter. But this one, I'm giving it to the Thing, but it's again on a hair, and it's because of it not having so many awful sequels that it slips by this one. Which brings us on to the final right now of this round of knockouts, which is going to see Ash versus Evil Dead, or the Evil Dead series going up against Halloween. I'll start with this one. I'm going to go with Ash and the Evil Dead because 3 solid movies, a great remake, another one in the works, a phenomenal TV series that incorporates everything from the trilogy of movies, keeping its tone, the comedy, the horror, the gore, the insanity of it.
It's Lee Majors.
It's Lee Majors. They bring back cast members from the original movies. It's so many ideas cancelled before it, you know, before it went into Mad Max apocalyptic territory.
Donna saw that ending because I watched the 3rd series recently because it's the only one I hadn't seen, and she was like, "That's fucking great. What happens next?" I was like, "Yeah, shut up and get out." Like,
Right.
It ended.
Halloween's got way too many stinkers in there to hold up. It's got some great.
I'm gonna agree with you based on the exact same reason.
Yeah.
I don't think there's actually a dud in the Evil Dead.
I see. They're really good. The Evil Dead series is really good, but my money would be going on Halloween because
John Carpenter.
yeah. But if I was to compare like Halloween 1978 to Evil Dead 81, Evil Dead is a gore fest and is a changing of time, where Halloween is slow and quiet and, you know, it's just
cozy.
yeah. And like with the Thing again, it's ever in the background, the presence, you know. With Evil Dead, it just has to keep upping the shock value, so that at the end of the film you go, "Oh man, I love Evil Dead. It's so fucking gory." Where I just go back to that shot of Michael just jamming the knife in that guy and leaving him hanging on the door, and you're like, yeah, that's a horror franchise. But Evil Dead took it.
Alrighty, we're down to the final 4. Next up, we see Hannibal Lecter going up against Charles Lee Ray. Child's Play series. Chucky versus Hannibal.
Chucky. Because Chucky's more fun. It's Hannibal Lecter. You can have too much darkness, and I know we were kind of moaning about some of the comedy.
It's a horror franchise, dude.
Yeah, but
Right.
You literally said earlier that you can't have comedy in a horror franchise.
But weirdly enough, Silence of the Lambs isn't a horror franchise. It's a bunch of books that have been made into films that we've categorized and put them together, saying, "Oh, they're gory." Child's Play is
how is it not a horror franchise?
So, most horror franchises, for me, like we said, have some duds because the studios try to interfere and they try to change the story because they're trying to keep the franchise alive. We call it milking it. We call them remakes or reboots, but say what they were. With Child's Play, Brad Dourif has literally just kept his character going all this time. Like we said, throughout all the movies, into a TV series. Hannibal Lecter, they changed the main guy like 3 fucking times. You know, for...
Well, yeah, you're talking
different
Brian
reasons.
Cox, obviously, yeah, it's like
Brian
that wasn't
Cox,
a franchise, but then when you take the actual, if you take Manhunter out of it and do the rest of the actual franchise,
but I can't. Manhunter.
They couldn't have Anthony Hopkins play him in fucking Rising.
When you talk about Hannibal Lecter, if you have not seen Manhunter, are you even a fan of the franchise? You know, you need to have watched that one to say, "Oh, I
don't
think
think you did.
I think you do, because you can't just sit there and go, well, I want
5 Academy Awards say it didn't.
That's Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Manhunter came out, it didn't do too well, then they hit it with Silence of the Lambs, and everyone was like, oh, you gotta go back and watch Manhunter. Yeah? Then they like we said, they bring out Hannibal, which is alright. It's no Silence of the Lambs, it's no 5 Academy Award.
No, it's not as good by any means, but I think it's a solid sequel.
Hannibal Rising.
I'm gonna look. You know me. I'm gonna
Rare.
go. I'm gonna go as a horror franchise. I'm definitely going Silence of the Lambs over Child's Play. Even if it's just similar to the way that I said about Exorcist versus Psycho, because I'm not shitting on Child's Play in any way. But I'm just saying, I like the cannibal thing over the possessed doll thing. I guess for me, personally.
But what I'm saying with the fun value of Child's Play is like, unlike Jason and Freddy, where they were going that way and we didn't want them to.
Silence has carried the fucking tone.
Child's Play, but Child's Play made it fun because of Chucky. Chucky makes it fun.
Of course it does. It's a fucking doll running around.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Brad Dourif.
It's a fucking angry toddler at the end of the day.
Brad makes the character.
Of course he does.
He doesn't
Absolutely
have
does.
to. He could easily just go on after the third movie. I'm never coming back. They even tried to stick Mark Hamill into the remake. I have barely touched it because I will not kind of sully the.
That is a blemish in the Child's Play franchise. Is that awful remake? We haven't brought it up really until now.
Where
you going?
I'm really stuck here, because like my favorite thing about the Hannibal Lecter franchise is the TV series over all the movies.
Yeah.
And for Child's Play, it's
Also got a great series from what I heard.
it does, but honestly it pales in comparison. Like in terms of production quality. It's still, I mean, I'm loving Child's Play right now, and it's ongoing, which is amazing. It keeps me excited. I want to watch like the next episode. I don't want to spoil what I'm waiting to see. I don't like Hannibal, the third film in the franchise. That Ridley Scott one. I only remember one scene, and that was him eating his own brain, and being fed to the pigs. The rest of it, I didn't like the Clarice performance. Who was it again? Julianne Moore. I like her, but she was just so just such a weaker
absolutely
actress in that role. But yeah, Anthony Hopkins, like, iconic in the role. Mads Mikkelsen is amazing. Brian Cox was very small. For me, he doesn't. He's a part of it, but he's not the first thing you think of.
He didn't have a lot in that first book, to be fair. That's the funny thing.
I think Silence of the Lambs TV series is better than Chucky. But I think the fact that it is Don Mancini and Brad Dourif and Tilly and the actor that played Andy, like bringing back all these legacy characters. I want to say Silence of the Lambs because the Hannibal TV series was so fucking good. But Child's Play, I love the possession stuff. I love the supernatural stuff. Chucky flipping the finger over and over. I love that cheeky little motherfucking grin. It's so tough, but I'm going with Child's Play in the end on this one. I'm going with Child's Play.
Bye Silence. You went far, but you ain't no Chucky.
Alrighty, Ian, I'm going to throw this one over to you right now while I finagle the buttons here. It's The Thing versus Evil Dead.
Now, we had weirdly discussed this a couple of days ago.
The possibility of them meeting.
The possibility that they were going to face each other. And I am the nard over this, over which I would really, really fundamentally enjoy. And for a time, my vote was going to go with Ash versus Evil Dead because those first 3 movies, the games, the comic books. I mean, I've got Ash fucking tattooed on the back of my neck. That's how much of a fucking fan I am of him. But I cannot shake my vote from The Thing. It's a superior movie. John Carpenter Sam Raimi is good. I love Sam Raimi. And with Robert Tapper and Bruce Campbell by his side, he can make really good productions. John Carpenter can just do everything. He makes his own music. He does his own editing. Assault on Precinct 13, you know, it's just phenomenal. Fucking Starman is just phenomenal. I know he's got duds with Ghosts of Mars, and I know he's got duds with Memoirs of an Invisible Man, but that doesn't change the fact that John Carpenter is just a superior guy behind the camera when he's doing his work, his skills, I think, just outshine every other director between his music, his editing, his story work. Now, when I'm talking about The Thing, and I want to be truthful now, because, like I said, if The Thing goes out against Evil Dead, I don't care. If it gone out in the first round, I wouldn't care against Saw. But every actor in The Thing is just phenomenal. You know, every one of them does their part, and we are questioning from beginning to the very end, you know, who's the Thing, when it happened, what part, you know, is Charles really a thing? Did they get rid of his earring? Does he breathe at the end? All these questions.
Is he drinking gasoline?
All these questions come out, and it's like Blade Runner all over again. It just keeps it alive, and yeah, we want sequels to answer our questions, but secretly we don't.
The horror of the unknown.
With Evil Dead, it's just like we made one, and then we had to remake it into a sequel, which technically doesn't connect to the first one. So technically, Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness are just 1 and 2 movies. Evil Dead is completely separate.
No,
they're still very
two
separate,
absolutely connects to
different
the
flavors.
No, it does not.
Yeah, it does. It picks up right at the end. They just refilmed
the intro to it.
Because
Yeah,
no, it's just him and Linda. He doesn't have Scotty there.
Dude, he's literally come out and said that it is a sequel to it.
He even said just splice. He said just splice the end of Evil Dead to Evil Dead 2, where it possesses him.
But it's not, because when they filmed
it
it
is because of those reasons. But anyway,
when they filmed it, they had to change a bunch of things to keep the franchise.
Well, they weren't
going.
allowed at the time to use any footage from Evil Dead, so
Right.
they had to recap.
They had to recap, so that's why you don't have Scotty, and that's why you don't have Shelley. And yes, you have Linda, because that's the iconic scene of him cutting her head off and keeping the story going. Then you get into the TV series. The TV series goes so much deeper and things like that. But it's loads of different people coming in from the background going, I'm a fan and here's my idea. I'm a fan and here's my idea. John Carpenter goes, this is mine. Do what you want with it, but you will never beat this.
you're judging it on the director. This is franchises, but you're like just John Carpenter. That's why you just went off on like Assault on Precinct 13.
Since the start, I've been judging it all on all of their merits. And like we said, The Thing is such a small little one. We don't have multiple sequels and different directors and different actors to go off of. We have to go from one film. It's other ideas and how that works against a franchise that has 4 fucking movies and a TV series and a bunch of games. For me, The Thing's just superior because it's so much smaller. It's so tight.
Go on.
The Thing is my favorite movie in the world. I love John Carpenter. I love watching interviews with him. Man is a legend. Evil Dead. You talk about everything that Sam Raimi. That John Carpenter does behind the scenes as well as just directing. Sam Raimi as well as like sound designing. His bonkers and incredible camera work, like the way he films, you know, just flipping the camera upside down, filming between the floorboards, his bizarre sound effects.
Yeah.
You know, he's totally integrated into his
shit
thing.
you need a drone
has
to
his
accomplish
absolute style, which is why when people watch stuff like Into the Multiverse of Madness, you're like spotting out all the Sam Raimi-isms.
Sam Raimi-isms.
Yeah. So I think he's just as as interesting to watch. I think Carpenter's more refined and more classical, whereas Raimi is more MTV bonkers. Let's move the camera all over the place.
Yeah. 2 different generations. But,
I love MacReady, but Ash is so much more interesting as a character. You know, even he's the reluctant hero who's an absolute buffoon who is so selfish. Yeah, I can't stop watching him. He has been through.
But he's a fucking hero.
He is the hero. And he's had so many games, so many appearances. Right? The fact that Bruce Campbell continues to support this franchise, his friends in the movie industry.
He's retired from it like 3 times.
Well, yeah, he has, but he's still he's still voicing the character. And hell, there are even talks of an Evil Dead cartoon continuation of the series, which allows Bruce to voice the role, and he doesn't have to put his body on the line anymore. Ash vs. Evil Dead, I love the games. I love the comic books. I love the movies. I love the remake. As a franchise, it dwarfs The Thing into... It's minute in comparison as a franchise. And the fact Ash vs. Evil Dead is such a strong franchise, it's a clear winner for me. Ash vs. Evil Dead. Or Evil Dead franchise. Andy, you're getting the sway vote on this one.
Well, this is the thing. Is like you said, I agree with both of you. What you said, like I love the fucking Thing movie. Absolutely, it's great. But to me, it's just because I'm not a fan of the sequel, and like I'm going to take prequel, of course. I'm going to take the video games out of it because again, I'm like rose tinted with the Thing, and like the fucking Fistful of Boomsticks phenomenal. So I'm going to take those out of it. Yeah, I do need to play the new one. I do need to play the new one. But again, on the strength of it being, I'm basing it on one truly great movie. This is kind of the same argument I had with Silence of the Lambs versus Jaws.
Yeah.
I'm taking one phenomenal movie.
That it is worth its strength.
Absolutely. That against the like again. I mean, this is going to spoil you for my next round pick, but it's like as far as I'm concerned with the Evil Dead, I'm like, there's no downtime for me. There's no fucking lull for me. If I watch Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, the remake, and all 3 seasons of Ash vs. Evil Dead, I'm like, I enjoyed everything.
Yes.
I was like, fucking loved every minute of this.
Yeah.
If they're going to do a fucking cartoon continuation of it, which the beautiful thing about fucking cartoons is you're not, it's like,
not restricted.
How do we make this look? Oh, you just draw it? Alright. Cool. It's gonna be fucking insane. So I gotta put Ash vs. Evil Dead 3 as well. Absolutely.
Wow.
Oh, we figured it would.
However, if we were playing a game of The Thing versus any of the Evil Dead movies on their own,
wins, yeah.
I would push The Thing.
It's the reason why we didn't do single movie entries in the horror. Because
we'd be working backwards.
Yeah. But then again, you would always end up talking about the sequels though anyway, so it just made sense to do franchises.
I didn't see this as the final.
The
Ash
final
vs. Evil Dead was one of my picks.
I didn't see Child's Play making it. I thought Hannibal Lecter was going to trump Child's Play.
Yeah, it almost did. It almost did for me.
This is a toughie.
But I'll go with mine. I'm giving it to Ash vs. Evil Dead right away. I love my Child's Play. I love my Evil Dead more.
Yeah.
I tend to watch more Evil Dead or rewatch Evil Dead more than any of the Child's Plays. The TV series was a terrific send-off for this character that we thought we would never see a conclusion to after Army of Darkness. We enjoyed the games as story continuations because we thought we'd get no more. Then we get 3 tremendous seasons, which is equivalent to almost 6 or 9 movies in length.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't ask for more. And yet, if we get more,
supporting cast are phenomenal as well.
They are.
Yeah,
they really
like
are. And the fact
Pablo,
that they've lent their voices to the video game as well.
Perfect.
Like they love what they worked on.
Pablo, by that 3rd season, is actually as jacked as fucking
Ash
is in that Evil Dead poster.
Yes,
I remember he fell over. I was like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
And man, the actor playing Kelly, she's filthy and fine.
Filthy, yeah.
Ash vs. Evil Dead, I think.
No, I want you to go first. I want to see what yours is first.
Okay, well, because I'm going to go with Ash vs. Evil Dead.
I was going to go Ash vs.
Okay, right away!
I love Child's Play, but
Yeah.
Army of Darkness just trumps all three of the first Child's Play movies. Army of Darkness on its own, and the fact that once you start Army of Darkness, if you've never seen Evil Dead 1 or 2, you've got them to go back to, and it's just so good. Because after you finish Evil Dead 1 and then Evil Dead 2, you're like, oh, I'm back to Army of Darkness again? Really?
I love that I can watch Army of Darkness with Donna as well, because she's not a big horror fan, but she loves comedy horror. I mean, she loves Dog Soldiers. She thinks Freddy vs. Jason is funny as all fuck, so she'll watch that. But she's not a fucking gorehound at all, or anything like that. But so I love that I would honestly, like I said, like I would totally let Jessica watch Army of Darkness with me. Because again, like I said, there's really not a lot of gore in it at all.
It's slapstick, Three Stooges comedy until...
Because I know full well that, like, for any bit where she's scared, I'm like, just wait until he fights himself. Just wait until he starts drinking, like, how about some hot chocolate? And you just trust me, like, she's gonna fucking piss herself. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one with the rape scene might be a bit much for her.
Yeah, just like, don't go near no trees.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, looking at all of the results, though, some real tough battles in there, but Yeah, I'm.
But hail to the king.
Hell to the king, baby. The king of horror. Even though there's a lot of comedy in there, the splatter, the scares, the jump scares, the dialogue, the deadites, Ash himself, his supporting cast members, genius, brilliant. And I have to say, it's very rare for, like, we've talked about all these horror franchises and all these icons: Freddy, Jason, Leatherface. And the winner is the hero.
If we put Ash in, though, he'd have fucked them all up in that movie.
Right? That's why we never got to see him versus anybody.
I'm lining them up against some of the others. I'm like, right, Ash versus Evil Dead versus Friday the 13th. I'm feeling Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Ash versus Evil Dead versus Psycho. I'm feeling Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Like, he might struggle against something smarter, like Silence of the Lambs. But,
Alien would be a fucking rough one.
but that's it. It's like...
Yeah, chainsawing aliens isn't going to go down too well.
I just broke the fucking chainsaw the first hit.
Ash versus Evil Dead TV series versus your Hannibal TV series, if you really had to pick and only watch one.
Well, I'd take Evil Dead because the fun factor. I'm going to get my
There you
gore and
go,
splatter,
the
but
fun
I'm not going to
factor.
get beautiful artistry or deep psychological, in there. I'm going to get shoot first, think
No,
never.
you have a fucking Hannibal series of sort of like, and this dish is from this fucking region of here and here, and then Ash you get fucking, I got my hand back, I'm going to take this thing out for a test drive.
It's going to be
You know what
human.
scene I've got playing in my head the whole time we're talking about Ash vs Evil Dead? The one scene when he's in the morgue and he climbs up that zombie,
the
dead
zombie
body's
butt.
asshole.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah,
just
His
the,
dick is flying.
Yeah.
Mate, it was, I think when I said to you the other day when I was like, I'm watching season 3, he's like, how far in are you? I was like, well, they just had a cum fight.
right, yeah, with the magazine and the arm coming out.
And I kind of was like, that's enough for today.
Oh, Ashy Slashy.
Groovy.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in for our horror franchise tournament epicness. We don't actually have an official title.
No,
Change it every time.
It does.
Extravaganza.
Extravaganza. That's the one.
Extravaganza.
And this, unfortunately, will be the end of this podcast. We have run overtime and we've had a myriad of technical difficulties. So if you did ask a question on this podcast, wherever you've left it, I will move it on to next month's podcast. We'll have a longer Q&A section next month around.
It will be the 50th podcast.
It will be the
so that's
50th one.
That's kind of fitting if we have a massive Q&A session.
Just a quick one,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So I just want to thank you, Ian and Andy, of course.
Okay, man.
It's been most awesome.
Cheers,
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hopefully, we'll see you again next month. Of course, you can find new film reviews on Thursdays. You can find me on Twitch on Mondays and on Wednesdays. All the links will be in the description below. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time.